Right.
Are we good there?
Yeah, we're good.
All right, I'd like to welcome everyone. I'd like to call the December 8th, 2020 meeting to order. It's 6:30 p.m. Do we have a full quorum? I do not see
We're waiting on Bob.
Bob yet, but we do have a quorum here. So I think we'll continue and we'll just wait and see if he jumps in. Maybe someone can text him. Hey, Rohit. So, see, we have a full quorum other than Bob, who is not usually on Zoom. So,
WebEx.
but since we have a quorum, we can continue. First, do we have the adoption of the agenda? Do we have any changes, additions, or subtractions, I guess I should say? Anyone?
No.
If it's okay with you, on the consent agenda, I just had a quick question on the roads, the left-hand turn roads. So
Let's just pull that off.
can we just pull that off? I'll ask a few questions and then we'll...
Number 3?
Yeah, number 2 and 3, I guess.
Okay.
It's just very simple stuff.
Unfinished?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Put those at the end of unfinished business as items 10 and 11.
Okay. Anything else? All right, I need a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So moved.
We're doing council tonight, so. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Next up, we have the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And Councilman Markleese has joined.
Santa!
I'd like to make a motion to allow Councilmember Markleese to participate remotely.
So moved. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Hi, Bob.
Hi,
I
Bob.
assume you didn't have anything to change on the agenda, but we just made one slight adjustment, so. All right, public comment period. Have we had anyone here to sign up or anyone?
No one has signed up, but I do have a submitted comment to read.
Okay. Can you do it within 3 minutes?
Yes.
All right.
He apparently timed it out beforehand.
Perfect.
I'm looking at time.
Okay, I trust you, Kim.
Ready?
Okay, this is from Tim and Melinda Mastenbrook of 230, I can't remember their address, but they're in Beechwood. 2305 Carson Drive, Beechwood. Dear Mayor and Council, our public comment is about the proposed Marvin Heritage District. As original Marvin residents, we remember the incentive to keep Marvin like it is was a major reason why there is a Marvin. Melinda and I are grateful for your willingness to serve on the council. I enjoyed meeting most of you at the Coffee with Council events. I'm sorry that my health prevents me from speaking there today. We understand property owners wanting to maximize their profits by selling commercial. We know they have the right to ask the state to go against our ordinances. However, we believe they know this is not the right thing to do for the community, which their families have enjoyed, and for their legacy. What options have been considered? Preserving the district by having it declared as a historic district, including the churches, graveyards, and the areas in your own recent interest in historic Marvin. Sale by the property owners to a residential developer to maximize their profits in that way. A Marvin purchase through a resident bond issue? Those were questions. Where will the proposed commercialization lead? We remember when Waxhaw had only one country grocery store, when there was one business on the hill behind the intersection at Providence Road in Newtown, and when we could pick wild strawberries in almost all of Indian land. We believe a focused survey of residents would support this concern. We certainly do not want this to affect future elections. We wonder if you would put together a legal and planning effort equal to the district commercial planning effort to explore ways to adhere to our original ordinances. Thank you, Tim and Melinda Mastenbrook of Beechwood.
Can you read that last part back again? You want us to do what?
We wondered if you could put together a legal and planning effort equal to the district commercial planning effort to explore ways to adhere to our original ordinances.
Okay. maybe keep his name right, and I think I know him, he's
Yeah,
been here,
you've
so
met him
yeah,
before,
we've met
yeah.
a few times, so I'll reach out to him and find out what he actually.
And his statement will be in the minutes,
Great, thank you for your comments, and there's nobody else?
unless anybody on the meeting wants to speak.
Doesn't look like it. If anyone wants to speak that's out there, you can take off your mic, I guess, and doesn't look like anyone. All right, thank you. So next on, we'll move on to administrator's report.
So first thing is definition of roads. You all had asked about creating a road aesthetics policy to address some of the issues that happened at the last council meeting where Weddington Chase requested to remove some paint that had been placed in their roads. And Chaplain and I had worked on assessing our current ordinance that talks about damages, and both of us feel like we can use that same ordinance to basically go after anyone that puts paint on the road if it happens again. The only problem that we're gonna have is trying to figure out who that party is, trying to pinpoint who exactly did the paint. So both of us feel like we don't need to create a separate policy or ordinance. We can use the same one to cover the same purpose. However, the real issue is gonna be enforcement if that happens again.
Well, and I think we need to have some sort of policy that says if there's paint on the road and it happens to be a Marvin road, we'll do our best to try to figure out who did it, but we're not gonna fix paint because it's aesthetics and not functionality.
Yeah, so I guess what we were probably looking for is, okay,
I think
at
there's
what point,
twofold.
yeah, and number one, do you need an ordinance? And then number two is at what point, because they are our roads, do we consider it damaged, especially if a little wear and tear is gonna take that off? Does that require us to go and, what's the mitigation for paint that happens to be from a painter? Obviously, we would want to, but if we can't find that person, I think what, and correct me if I'm wrong, council, that we were like, okay, is it on us to do that for that neighborhood? Or is it something that we would ask the neighborhood? Because let's face it, say if it was a painter and they contracted, somebody in that neighborhood contracted a painter to do the work, it's not us doing it. So is that a shared cost by the HOA or whatever, given that it's, you know, it's not us that sent the painter in there.
So in our road acceptance policy, we also address maintenance in general. What we could do is just add a kind of sentence in there or two about if this happens again, we can actually change the title of the policy from road acceptance to road acceptance / maintenance, and we can address it in
We
that.
just need to make sure that we're not on the hook to fix aesthetics.
Yeah, I
If
agree.
there's a functionality
No need for
problem, but we do not need to be, like, if it was paint from a painter and somebody hired that painter, then it's their responsibility to have a painter fix it, or it's their responsibility, it's not ours.
Yeah, you would think a homeowner would, if something were to happen, it would start probably from the homeowners and work its way out the neighborhood, and you can probably identify it that way, but to your point, right? But I know we've also gone back and, you know, a cement truck dumped cement on an area because he made a wrong turn, and we went back and mitigated that issue, so.
Okay, we'll get a sentence or two in that road acceptance policy and change
Yeah, I
the
mean,
title.
the roads are still damaged, but they're functional. And you
Right.
don't have to remedy something that's functional. That's up to your
Right.
discretion.
Lumps of concrete can be a hazard. It can be a trip hazard, it can be a tire hazard, it can be those types of things. I think that's a little different than a little paint on the road. Paint is just paint, it's just aesthetics.
Okay. All right, we're good on that? And then HOA sign.
So again, as you all have seen, we've got the signs in with the new branding. Canterfield, Heritage Oak, and Weddington Chase are currently undergoing a sign replacement at a cost share with them. We will, if council doesn't have any objections, we'll be doing an auction on the old signs so that anyone that's in those subdivisions or anyone else in general can come in and purchase those signs in the auction process.
Like a open auction?
Yeah.
So to a certain deadline, you have?
Yes, yes.
That's perfect.
And we'll put the money into general, miscellaneous revenues, and if y'all want to earmark it at a later date for a special project, we can do that as well. We can just transfer it over.
Okay.
Any objections to that at all?
No.
All right.
And then the last thing I want to talk about is, and this is probably roads, but we'll talk about it here, is the Newtown Road petition. We've talked about this a couple of times, and we were kind of waiting to see what was going to happen with the roundabout action with the CRTPO board, and that we've since realized that it was approved, but it's still going to be 2022 before we see construction on the roundabout. So I don't know if council is wanting to go ahead and go through with the petition of Newtown Road. It is going to require, a lot of time and effort from staff and their engineers, so I want to make sure y'all are okay with us moving forward with it before we spend a lot of time on it.
At this point, we know that the road is somewhat less than the standard. From my point of view, from my construction background, is that the sooner we get something done to the road to preserve it, the longer it's going to last. If we continue to let it just do what it's doing, it's going to degrade much worse. And I have a feeling that DOT is probably still not going to be in a position to resurface it upon us taking it over at the time of the traffic circle being completed. So from my standpoint, I think if we do it sooner than later, we can do some of the maintenance to preserve it. But that's my opinion on it.
So I'm passing around 2 quotes from A&T. Y'all seen these before. We had asked what the score was, and I think it was around 80, somewhere around there. And so these were the 2 options that they gave to fix it, to bring it up to standard. One of them was 190, one of them was 18,000.
Is it just one quote?
I'm sorry, 202. 202 was the estimate, not 190.
Here comes option 2.
The bottom says 190.
Yeah, that's weird. They should be the same cost, but between 190 and 202. And then the other one was 18,000.
So I would think before we take over a road, we want to make sure that road is like, you don't go into a situation where we're buying bad roads and, oh, state, we're going to take over for you and repair them. I think it's when we get to the point when we're ready, we look at the condition and we say, how can you expect us to take over? So maybe to your point, Andy, that they deteriorate more and maybe another delay comes in. So before we really get this thing completely taken over, and again, we're going all the way down to the South Carolina line to the roundabout, that it deteriorates to the point where it's way below the 80. And I can see their argument not maintaining or wanting to do anything because it may be able to be turned over. But I know from our personal experience, before we turned the roads over to the state, if you remember this, Jamie, in our neighborhood, the state said, oh, no, you can't just do that. You got to fix the manhole covers, you got to fix the roads, the curb cuts, all of that to get them up to our standards before we would accept them. So my point being is, why wouldn't we expect the same if it's reversed? If we are going to take over the roads, we're going to tell DOT at the time we're ready, at least have them, and let's decide on an 80% or higher level from an independent source like AMT that can look at them and do that. Because otherwise we're putting ourselves out there for, again, deterioration from now until the roundabout gets in. And how long did they say the whole process would take to take over the roads?
For if we start the petition?
Yeah.
We didn't get into that much detail, but we would initiate the petition and it would take a couple months because it has to go to the state.
Yeah.
I'd say max 6 months.
But the difference between Firethorn and what we're trying to do is, you guys wanted to turn the roads over. The state doesn't necessarily want to give us Newtown Road.
Oh, they do too. I promise you. I promise you they want to get out of the road. They would rather give it to a municipality.
But they're not
Promise you
coming to
that.
us, asking us to
I
take
know
it.
they're not, but
Well, I think that what Kim's alluding to is the fact that although they're not trying to give us the road, they're not trying to keep the road either. They're like
They're like,
either
whatever,
way.
but
But
we're not gonna fix it. So if you guys
Yeah, they're
want
not
it, then
gonna
you
fix
guys
this.
take it. And that's if they even take it, because when Christina and I had the conversation with, who did we have it with?
Travis Pressler.
He wanted us to take Marvin Road, Waxhaw Marvin Road, Marvin School Road. And I was like, whoa, I was like, we wanted this, and you said take it to the state line, so we said, okay, we do that, and now you want us to take Marvin Road, Marvin School Road, and Waxhaw Marvin Road. So, like, I don't think that they are going to be willing, not DOT, to pave anything. Now, Joe, you've said, well, let's go to some of our, representatives and talk to them and see what they can do. So I think you should do that. I think you should call whoever you think.
I would be happy to do that once they get sworn in.
Then, well, there's some people that didn't get,
I know, but they're still, it's good to have people that just got elected that, to be on your side to go to bat for you when you go to talk to
so
them.
that'll be January,
Okay,
right?
yep.
Yeah, so.
I'm totally fine with that, and
But
at
I
least
just-
reaching out to
I
them.
just don't think that they're gonna be like, oh, okay, you guys wanna do it, so sure, we'll pave it for you, and then you can take it over.
So, and then on top of that, given all the pushback we saw with even putting a town hall across the street, and everybody up in arms about, they think we're ready to build some sort of commercial district down in here, we're owning road to road for what purpose? I mean, have we really determined
Slow
what?
down traffic.
Well,
I get that.
traffic mitigation, which seems to be the public's main concern, is traffic mitigation. So if we do slow down this section and have speed limits and deter trucks, then that is in line
Okay.
with traffic mitigation.
I just want eyes wide open walking into what we're getting into. I'm on the side that there's no way I would take over a road without going to DOT or doing some negotiation and saying, look, we're willing to take the maintenance part away from you and turn it over to a municipality, but at least get it up to a standard that it's like buying a used car. Do you want to buy a lemon or buying a new car for that matter? Do you want to buy a lemon that has issues that you're going to be spending money right away, when it's really the state's responsibility? At the end of the day, if those roads get to a point where you're starting to see accidents and then people are rolling off the sides of the roads, you know what? Lawsuits go that way too, to the state that they failed to maintain their roads, so they're going to have to at some point maintain. I'm just saying it's a negotiation. It's, I think, silly to go in saying, yeah, we'll just take them sight unseen, let's fix them to fix it. But that's opinion of one. So that's, Bob, do you have any comments?
Well, I was going to say, I guess I agree with you and Councilwoman Vandenberg in that the whole goal was to reduce from Roundabout 2 to anticipated Roundabout 3, dropping it down to 25 miles an hour. That was the focus. That we haven't need to lose that. When the roundabout got delayed, we thought we might have some leverage in some way if we went ahead and said, okay, we'll take it to South Carolina. But when they came back and they started to say, no, you've got to take this and you've got to take that, I guess all I know is with us working on the signs turning left, I would say with as much expenditures that we're going to be going forward with the new town hall and everything that's going to be happening, I just think the last thing we need to do is bring on this for what purpose other than 25 mile per hour between Roundabout 2 and Roundabout 3, which is Roundabout 3 whenever. And I agree with you, Joe. When they get out there and they start doing that roundabout, they'll start to see issues with the road approaching the roundabout. They can't ignore it. They're going to see, as people is parked, and I don't know how long, how wide the shoulder needs to be, how it's going to all wind up, but it'll be in their face. They'll have to address the repairs, the ruts, whatever is going to be, whenever that's going to happen. So I don't think we need to do anything at this point. Let's put the signs in and let's see how that works for us.
Jamie?
Again, I'll probably just go back to what you were saying. I think we need to get as much as we can. Let's just try to take it as far as we can with what we can get out of them and see what that takes us. I do have a quick question on A&T sending this over. If you look at the bottom three pieces here, they don't make sense to me. When you look at the top of them, option 1 and option 2, you got erosion control, 1 quantity. at 1,500, and then you've got one quantity at 6,000. And traffic control, one's at 2,000, and the one at the top is at 5,000 for option one. I mean,
Well, Jenny, I think the traffic control is directly related to the amount of time they're going to be spending on the road. Where if they resurface it, it's a lot more time. Now, the erosion control, I'm not sure.
I'm just looking at the numbers at first blush.
Yeah, that's,
I got some inconsistencies here that I'd want further explanation on. I'm not questioning,
yeah.
and I'm sure that it will, but then the quantity shouldn't be one. Charging it.
On the, option one, is for shoulder reconstruction is, I think, some of the main part of the erosion control. They're actually going in and, oh no, he's got an itemized.
But what Jamie's saying is it's one quantity, linear, LS, which is whatever.
Right,
And then
I'm just
6,000
saying, but I'm
Yeah.
just throwing it out there at first blush. I don't know what any of these numbers mean. I do know shoulder construction is shoulder construction, and if it's at 2.3, or something says erosion control 1, LS, the top one says 6,000, this one here 1, LS, and this one here 1,500, so.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I just, traffic
It's for the
control
same
is one
fee.
unit of
Well,
traffic
let's-
control, but
Same light.
I'll get some.
that's all.
Just get some
Get
clarity on that. I mean,
clarification.
back to the other piece of it, I think we just, I'd love to see that 25 miles an hour, but, I mean, to Bob's point, and unfortunately, Bob, I'm gonna have to a little bit disagree with you. If you think state workers are gonna go down there and they're gonna recognize that those roads are, let me sell you a bridge somewhere. Because state workers, you got 5 working and or 2 working and 5 watching the one work. So, and they're not out there to observe anything.
Well, that's why you get an independent, like our own engineers that
I get
do
it, I get it.
assess it. But to your point, it's looking like option 1 and option 2 are exact same lineal feet, 6,072 feet. One's at 1,500, so what is that, just bringing it up to snuff where it can continue, or does the 6,000 really get it done right?
Right.
You know,
I
so.
don't know, so anyway, that's my take on it. Let's just negotiate and decision make later.
Yeah, well, I'll certainly reach out to the new candidate elects, I guess. So.
Well, I got no issue with trying to find the best route. My only concern is that if we don't do something, if we're gonna take over the road, we either get it repaved, or we do something sooner than later to try to, preserve what we have, because the less trucks on it and the quicker that we get crack seal in it, the better it's gonna last. So that's my only contention is that we need to act as diligently as possible to figure out a solution and know a direction sooner than later. That's all.
And let's just say DOT says we're not doing anything. I would at least expect that we would get what we want, the speed limits and the 18-wheelers off before we put a dime into the road. Does that make sense? Because why allow them to continue just trashing it?
absolutely. So
You get that done and it's like, okay, now we're gonna take a pause and now we're gonna put money towards fixing these roads, knowing that we don't have as much traffic and it's certainly going a lot slower, so.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, that's the objective. So once we have control of the road, then we can assign those things, and then we put the money into fixing it. I agree.
So we can put this back on a work session like in March. That'll give Mayor Polino time to talk with the state worker.
January.
You want it in January?
Wait a minute, I think it's sworn in January.
You got plenty of time. You'll be fine.
Okay.
So January work session?
I mean, I'm with Andy. I think that this is so prudent for us to keep pushing the ball forward on this. I agree with Joe. If we can get the state to pave it or do something or split it with us or something, then I think we absolutely should. But at the same time, the left-hand turn that we're putting in here is not going to do anything about the speed or the trucks or anything like that. So we need to have something that slows this down and gets the trucks off of it. And the sooner that we can own this, the better. So if Joe can talk to somebody and start negotiations there, I'm all for that, but if not, then we need to figure out a way to get this road.
Okay. All right,
And that's all I have, sir.
all right, thank you. Planners report, Rohit.
Alright, hey, so,
Hey,
the first one on my planners report is really exciting. The CRTPO grant application for discretionary funding is actually being fast-tracked to be reviewed this month. I said earlier that we might know early next year or so, in which case the board that I'm on, the TCC, has already voted to approve the projects that includes ours.
Remind me what project it is.
Oh yeah, the Marvin Loop Trail, which would connect the current end of the trail at the preserve, come all the way down Newtown Road and up to Saddle Avenue. That's the scope of this grant, and our project is recommended to be approved by the TCC board and the CRTPO staff. And it will be up for the CRTPO board that Mayor Polino is voting member on at the December 16th meeting.
Also, another meeting I did.
Yeah,
another picture.
Did you see that?
I did see
Is that
that.
on the website?
No.
It's gonna be in the year in review
That's
newsletter.
okay, you don't need to.
No, it's gonna be in the newsletter. It's a good picture.
So after some back and forth, the total project cost is 1.7 million. Which CRTPO would give us a little over 1 million, and which would put us on the hook for 680,000. But I also hope to have other sources of revenue other than our own general fund to match that 680,000, like other grants or other sources of revenue. But we'll see that when we get there.
Have you, or we thought about, you know how you do roads, you can adopt roads and real estate companies do it and stuff like that? Why not have them adopt trailways?
Wait till we get there. It's on
I'm
the
just saying,
agenda.
just to.
It's on the
Okay,
agenda.
all right.
Just-
Just
It's
throwing
on
it
the,
out
I
there.
know, it's a good idea. It's on the agenda.
I'm an idea guy. All right.
All of it's
So-
contingent upon.
Yeah, so that's right. Again, just the trail, a lot of the points that we got to win this grant are dependent on the downtown district, the Marvin Heritage District, like the connectivity between existing neighborhoods and, destinations. So, not to like pressure or anything, but the CRTPO wants to see a regionally impactful project, so that's why they'd be giving us over $1 million to do this trail. So it's kind of has to tie into that Marvin Heritage District. And in January, we'll know from DFI if our low-density district concept is feasible, and at that time, if we decide to not do the grant, then we not do the district, then we don't take the grant. But in any case, we'll find one way or another to get our Greenway network accomplished.
By when?
By when? The
Yeah,
Greenway
when
network?
is the grant awarded?
Oh, the grant is, it will be available to us when we are, when it's approved, but it's a reimbursable type of grant, so,
You pay for it up front.
yeah, so we would, say, take out a construction loan or something, and then build the trail, and then show them the receipt, and then they give us the money back.
Staff is working on some things right now, and we're gonna actually got a presentation ready for the work session, so we've got some things that we want to show you at the work session to talk about that in more detail.
Would Village Hall not be a regionally impactful project? Just Village Hall?
Well, Village Hall does contribute some points, but most of the points came from
Okay.
the, connection to
I was hoping.
No, nice one.
Yeah, I got that. I got that. Just say no, it's okay.
Okay, thank you. And then that's all you had on that grant update?
Yeah, that's all I have on that.
Which is awesome, it's super exciting,
Yeah.
yay, that's like
Yeah.
awesome.
I just have to vote.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
so
you
don't
should
forget, is that
probably-
on your
It's already on my calendar.
Good.
Nice.
You're the backup guy.
I'm back, I'm ready to back up.
Yeah.
Put me in, coach.
And I'll see our members that sit on this board Yeah, when is our next meeting? Next week, it's our next meeting.
Yes, it's next Wednesday.
WUMA meeting, so.
Oh,
WUMA
that
is next
one
Thursday.
Next Thursday, it's here.
It's actually going to be at Banks.
Joe,
Oh, it is?
I set it up.
I'm gonna be home, so I'll be here.
Oh, good, because I may be gone, but that's, that's something we want to push for them, so, okay, good.
Not to drop the ball on it.
About that,
Yeah, I just found
so. I know we just talked about that, okay, good, all right. So CRTPO board roundabout update.
Okay, so in this one, I'll lean a little bit to Christina, but at the last CRTPO board meeting, it was approved to give that discretionary allocation to our roundabout project, among other projects. But it seems that only the money that would go towards the phase that we were on was given. So $123,000, I think it was, for right-of-way acquisition, and not the whole cost of the project. So we don't have the money to construct this today. We just have the money to continue where we left off at the beginning of this year. But that said, that could happen as soon as possible. But that means that as long as there isn't the rest of the funding, the roundabout would still happen in 22.
Hopefully, if everything pans out well with right away. So there's still some back and forth going on right now with CRTPO and NC DOT regarding different components. DOT breaks all of their projects into 3 different components: right of way, construction, and preliminary engineering. So the way that they've got it worked out, they've got to get money earmarked for certain phases, and there's some back and forth going on right now. But at the end of the day, we're still looking at 2022 for best case scenario.
Okay.
And in the meantime, for those listening, we will still have off-duty traffic control at that area.
And then no left turn.
And no left turns.
Okay. Roundabout lighting update.
So this is the where we last left off is that
This
we
is the year and a half project.
Yeah, DOT is requiring us to do a full survey of the area that we want to install lighting. So we've decided that we're going to have AMT do that, right? Yeah. So he'll have that to us sometime this month, and that should be the last thing we need to get going.
And this survey is just to determine if we need lights there or not.
No, we know we
What
need
kind of
lights, but they want a full survey of where they're going and exactly, like, down to the foot, what part of the road would be illuminated.
And that's
A
this
physical
roundabout.
survey, Joe.
Yeah.
Not a.
Just one of the roundabouts?
Yeah, not a polling survey,
Yeah,
like
these
a
physical.
Oh, okay.
a land survey.
And then we started on that.
Oh, yeah, and so knowing this, we were in talks with DOT to get lighting incorporated into the plans of the upcoming roundabout, so they'll already be there and we don't have to go through this again.
But we would have to pay for construction.
Right.
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah, we got it.
Street light policy.
So this, and the next 3 items, I just wanted to leave these on there to tell you that I've made progress on all of these 3, but they're not ready for this meeting. I do intend to have all these 3 ready for the January meeting. I know where they're going in the ordinances, but just haven't gotten around to preparing them for adoption at today's meeting. That's all I have for it. The median ordinance is new from last time, but basically we got around to designing the roundabout plantings, and there's an ordinance that starts out by saying this is a guide and for roundabout, for median plantings, and basically the PRG said, well, if it's a guide, then we don't have to follow it. So that idea to present is to remove the words this is a guide. If that's something we really want to see in our medians, then it shouldn't be a guide, or it shouldn't be in our ordinance. So I'll bring that to the January meeting. So that's it, really it for D, E, and F. As for G, annexation update, we are making a lot of progress on that. It's been an all hands on deck effort with staff, shoving 1,500 envelopes. It's been a great experience. I've also contacted almost all of the HOAs that we're looking to reach out to so far, and all of them have reacted positively. I've heard all of them say, okay, yeah, sure, sounds good, we'll talk to our board. One of them, Woodhall, is actually interested in having the council and staff speak at their January HOA meeting, so I still have to get what the date is and the time of that meeting, but they do want us to be at that meeting to talk to them about it. And so that's all I really have for that. The mailers, like over half the mails have already gone out. There's a lot of buzz going around about it, and it's overall positive. We've already got one application, one annexation petition in already.
We have another quarter of the letters ready to go out. They just need to be put in the mail tomorrow.
Yeah.
And just so council knows, we are gonna do these in kind of packets. We had planned on kind of
Bunches,
getting
yeah.
the ones together and doing it in March, April, and then again during the summertime, so it's not constantly, there's a lot of legal notices that are required, a lot of other stuff that's
So do
required.
it as a group.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're not going to do it as we receive them. We're going to bunch them up for both our convenience and the property owner's convenience. But yeah, that's going really well so far.
Does it make sense for any of the council members to reach out to the HOA presidents and see what they're,
As you want, yeah.
okay.
You said what?
If you want to divvy up some names and stuff, or if you get 10 HOAs, we all take 2 and just reach out to them and say, look, hey, we're trying to do this, that would be great, and get those out to us and assign them as you wish. I mean, it probably makes sense for, if you're in your own neighborhood, well, obviously that's Marvin, so that wouldn't count, but if you know somebody that would, in another neighborhood that you personally know or something, that'd probably be a good person to line up.
I would just continue putting out accurate information about why we want and that we're requesting, it's not forced, and cause there's a lot of misconceptions rolling around there in the rumor mill.
Yeah, no, the HOA presidents have also come and said, you know, what's true and what's not, and I've been sending them, you know, individualized.
But let's just keep
emails,
sending out emails to whoever's.
We're fielding a lot.
Good, because there's a lot of misconceptions out there.
We're getting out as much information as we can, you know, to make sure that everyone knows what's right.
And we just recently put a big communication piece out that has a lot of the frequently asked questions.
Most of the questions that we've gotten have been very positive. Most people have been very positive when they've contacted us. So.
Yeah, I would just think next door is probably the best way to get that out, because otherwise
Everything is going through social media and email, so we're good.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Okay,
Good job.
thank you.
Exciting. Good job.
Next up, roads report. Thank you. Go ahead.
I don't have anything additional.
Okay. Deputies report.
Good evening, council.
How are you?
Hope everybody's doing well. Last month we had 30 911 hang-up calls. We had 5 accidents. 4 of them were property damage. 1 was a hit and run. A total of 13 alarms, 12 traffic stops, 263 preventative patrols, 1 suspicious vehicle, and 1 larceny that occurred. And that was it for the month.
That is fairly low on the crime.
Because we've got 2 people out working now.
There we go. 263.
That's good. I mean,
And you guys are still mixing up your hours or when you're, so you don't really let us know, they're just,
that's good.
We're here. Another one will pop up.
There we go. I like it.
you like
Everybody on their
that.
toes,
I think that's a good thing, so.
especially the bad guys.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Thank you, Tommy.
Be safe.
Yes, sir.
All right, next up, planning board chair report. I think we still have John Jones on the phone, on the hotline. John, you want to unmute?
I don't know if he wants to talk. He just had surgery, so.
Oh.
Bob, you want to tell us what happened at the last planning board meeting? It doesn't look like John wants to talk to us.
He's muted.
You gotta unmute, you gotta unmute.
We
Hold
can't
on.
hear you, Bob. No.
Can you hear me?
Oh, we can hear you,
Oh,
John.
there's John.
Alright. I'm sitting in the hospital right now, so
Oh.
I'm still having so
He's in the hospital.
Yeah.
other than
He has
that,
surgery.
I can concentrate that much anyway. But I'm saying I'm
Dedicated.
back.
He's getting a shot right
All right, he's
now.
like, I gotta go. All right, Bob, can you tell us what's going on?
Basically, they, well, you know, Rowan can help with this too. The meeting went, very well. They were kind of setting themselves up for getting prepared for, what's gonna be the task of rezoning and the responsibility with that. But Rohit, am I missing anything? I mean, that was really the gist of the meeting.
Yeah, no, a large part of the planning board meeting was to talk about DFI parameters and the three scenarios that I was going to prepare and have since delivered to them that they will assess for the, you know, feasibility of different levels of development. Yeah, that's, I mean, and then what this district would look like was pretty much the bulk of the meeting, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you, John, from
The hospital. We hope you're doing good. Feel better.
bedside. Well wishes to you. Next up, we have PR&G Chair Report.
John's
I
not
think
on.
John's not on.
Yeah, but Derek, wasn't Derek here?
Derek was here.
is here somewhere.
He's got a couple items.
A lot, I mean, I know a lot of the stuff that we talked about in our meeting is on the agenda other places, so.
Okay.
I
And
think
he's
we'll-
gonna be here too.
Yeah,
We can
Derek's
ask,
here.
I think, so we can.
Okay.
All right. So we'll move on to.
Wait, hold on, but one thing that one thing that they did talk about and work on was, ideas for the pocket park, over at Marvin Gardens. So the Parks Rec and Greenway Board is gonna come back at our January meeting and hopefully have some suggestions for council to look at, to then kind of move forward so that we can get that taken care of, in the spring. So,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. So next up, we have the consent agenda. We need a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended.
So moved.
All's in favor?
Aye.
I,
Motion passes unanimously. Next up, we have public hearing. Open the public hearing for OR-2020-12-03, the renewal of the annexation agreement with Weddington. So I need a motion to open
So moved.
that hearing. All's in favor?
Aye.
I,
Do we have anyone signed up for public comments? Or on the line, Zoom line? If anyone is on Zoom that wants to speak up on the annexation agreement, doesn't look like anyone's. All right, so I need a motion to close the public hearing,
So moved. Public comments.
public comments, I'm sorry.
So moved.
All's in favor?
Aye.
All
I,
right, motion passes. So, Rohit, you have this?
Okay, thank you. So this has come in and out of council meetings, but basically we have an annexation agreement with Weddington that was established in 2000 and expires in this December 31st, 2020. It's a 20-year agreement, and the intention of this public hearing, it is required by state statute to hold a public hearing to enter into an annexation agreement with another municipality, so that's why we are where we are today. But in your packet, and I'll pull it up also on the screen, is the map with the slight revisions that we did discuss when we were talking about the land use plan map. But essentially, the idea of this meeting and this public hearing is to approve the renewal of a 20-year annexation agreement with Weddington per the map that is in your packet. Again, I'll some reason I can't talk and look at things and read at the same time. Yeah.
So Rohit, you said that, I feel like a few meetings ago, you said that Weddington wanted to adjust the lines just a little bit?
Yes, and we have since adjusted those lines.
Again?
Those lines were adjusted on our future land use map, but this map is gonna be the whole picture of Weddington and Marvin. You know, Weddington can annex in the light blue areas, and Marvin can only annex in the light orange areas.
So we have a lot more areas that we can annex than they do. Is that,
Yes, but that's, I mean,
Well, some make total sense for Weddington, I think. You know, when they're,
oh yeah, no, I'm just saying, like, if I'm looking at the map, because the light yellow is light, so
I don't even see the light yellow.
all this.
Oh, okay. It doesn't look yellow
I
to
know,
me.
that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying,
it's
so it's
barely,
hard to
but it's
see.
They've just had more annexations at this point.
Okay. And Chaplain, are you good with this?
I am, it follows the statutory form. It can be up to 20 years. Has to be approved by an ordinance after a public hearing, and you do have a termination right in your notice.
Okay. So we're gonna do it for another 20, it looks like.
yeah, so the ordinance is an agreement that would expire December 31st, 2040, just like this one expired in 2020, or will expire.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's not, the current one's not in the packet, but it's basically the same form.
Minus the map a little bit, it's a little bit.
Right, the map's a little bit different, and so, to your point, it was this area here,
Yeah.
that was in our area, but is now in theirs because the Roots Farm properties should be, you know, contiguous. Sure.
Cool, okay.
Really nice in the sandbox.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
So what do you need, a motion to, does anybody have questions? Sorry, Joe.
No, I move it along. Happens all the time.
Somewhere I think in the consent, in the cover sheet or something,
You're home, don't you know?
should be.
He told me he wasn't gonna be here, so I was fully prepared. Okay, so do I need to go, but I don't have all the thingies, do I?
The what?
You don't need findings of fact for
Okay.
this. It's just the motion to approve the annexation agreement by ordinance
Okay,
number.
so I'd like to make a motion to approve the annexation agreement OR-2020-12-03, contingent on attorney review and no negative comments received in 24 hours.
Further discussion? All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you, Kim, for being prepared. All right, next up we have Village Hall.
Christina,
No. I won't. That would never be. Not like you.
Joe, take one and pass these down.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Huh?
Oh, we didn't
yeah,
close it.
you did. You closed the public comment.
For the comment. the
Yeah, you
comment,
did.
yeah.
Okay, sure. That's fine. Making sure we're on track.
All right, so we're good to move on?
Yes, thank you.
All right, next up, thank you, Rohit. Next up, we have Village Hall.
So going around the table are the final conceptual plans. There's a couple of changes, but not anything major, you probably won't even notice it.
This one is.
It shows the exterior elevations and the side elevations, as well as the interior footprint.
I'll pull it up in a second.
This is yours?
I think the same one's in the, are these in the packet?
That's what I'm saying, it's the exact same. The front and back is the exact same.
No, it's not in the packet. I just got
It's got a roof on it.
So just wanted to go over a couple of, in your timeline, there's a couple of changes that have taken place.
Of the current one. That's the back.
What's
That's
this?
the front. That's the
Side.
left side.
Right.
Okay.
So just to say that a little louder, we have two sheets here. A2.1 is the front and right side, and A2.2 is the left and rear side. So they're not alternates or anything. It's just all four sides.
So whatever way you look at it, it's almost looking like you're looking at the same thing front or back.
You are.
That was the concept. Right?
And left side looks like the right side.
You don't know if you're coming or going.
Okay. Part of the course, right?
I'm leaving the building or I've left the building.
So a couple of major dates that I want to point out in the timeline, and this timeline is going to be moving. As we get closer, we adjust a couple of things, but basically, the design review board, which is basically the planning board, has to review and approve, recommend approval for changes to the cancel, and we hope to have a preliminary review at their December meeting.
It's on the agenda.
And our pre-application for LGC will actually take place on January 11th. That'll be a call that we have with First Tryon to go over the process. At the next work session, pre-application, at the next work session, we will have the conceptual plans back, hopefully in totality with the civil plans and everything from Urban and our new civil engineer.
Ooh.
So we can have a final approval from the design review board at their February meeting.
That's the wind.
I think Derek's bringing the trash.
Oh.
That is not the one.
And then our construction bid opening will be on March 9th. And I'm gonna need council to call a special meeting on March 10th, if everyone's available to make a decision on that. We can do that at a later date, but if y'all wanna
Wait,
check the
what?
calendars.
March 9th is the bid opening.
So why do we need one for the day after the bid opening?
Because usually
Unless y'all wanna,
you want to be here, all be here for the bid opening and then decide right there?
we,
Oh, literally, you were opening the
Yes.
bids. I thought when you said bid opening, you mean it's like,
No,
it opens up for bids.
No, it's the deadline, they have to have their numbers in.
Yeah, got it.
In
You're
your-
physically opening up the
Yes,
bids. that
they're
we
fun
got.
to be at,
I was
especially when nobody
at-
shows
I
up.
was at one. Last time.
and we just put an extra day in there, cause it, sometimes it takes staff a little while to put it all in spreadsheets and make sure.
Yeah,
everything
at
says-
least a day, I would
Yeah,
think.
they
but-
like to summarize them for you, show what the date, who it is.
And we won't have any of that information back for that special meeting, so it's literally, we'll hopefully have it going out that night or earlier that
But
morning.
you can turn it around, if you get the opening on the 9th, you can,
We've
put
got a
that
pretty good
together.
system right now worked out, because we did it, twice before.
okay?
So, I feel like we
We're
will be okay.
experts at
There's a
this.
punchline there.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, we've got our March meeting on the 9th, right? So
You do,
any way that we can do the bid opening on the 8th and just go over them on the 9th?
we can try to adjust that.
I don't know. I mean, I'm just asking. We have a meeting on the 9th.
Either
We-
that
or
or
do
push
we-
the meeting a day, one way or the other, but it
Or
makes sense.
we should probably have a special meeting and just talk
Yeah.
about that.
yeah.
And
Okay.
we did it, one of the most interesting things that we learned at the last one is they don't like bids due on certain days.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm fine.
Friday's always bad.
Yeah, I'm fine to have a special meeting on the 10th.
Sin.
That's exactly right.
Okay, so we can call it closer, but I just wanted to give y'all that heads up. And then we'll be working with LGC and hopefully have their approval in early April. And then we're looking at a loan closing on the 20th of April with a potential groundbreaking in May or June. That's if everything goes as planned.
And you're saying CO by the end of the year?
That's what we were.
The fighter jet going by.
We're good. Keep the pedal to the metal.
So at the next meeting, we will again go over these plans in more detail. And I'm kind of looking forward to a final approval on the conceptual plans from you guys, because that's what's going to go to the design review board
You
for
want
their.
this right now?
No,
Oh.
no. But if anybody has any issues that they see that's just completely off the wall with any of this, if you could tell me now, so I can get that communicated to, when the work session comes, y'all will have your final conceptuals.
6 months.
48 hours, right?
Plenty of time to get this CO back.
That's a big order for that.
How many square feet is this?
Yeah, I'll ask.
I think you're on 5,000, where is it?
It looks like that's.
Alright, 65.
4833.
Also shy of 5,000. It's not too terribly bad.
And this space is 50.
Allows 48 occupants.
So,
6 months should be plenty of time for construction.
What is the 48?
I'll ask on that. It
Because I said,
appears
is that
that's the
fire
max.
code? I was like,
Get it done in less, unless
What's your normal
Major
party?
catastrophe. I know there's time built in there for contingencies, but
One of the good things I'll mention to you all is, I've been working with some numbers and talking with our, engineer, and we think that we will be able to reduce the footprint under an acre of disturbance, which basically eliminates the BMPs, which was the majority of the site work at the previous one. So, we'll also be moving around the footprint itself, so that we can hopefully get out of the lower lying areas, and it'll reduce the site cost even more.
Right.
And we are gonna reduce the parking to the bare minimum, and having to overflow with some permeable pavers for meeting space and stuff like that.
So the only thing, and just a quick glance at this that I'm looking at, and the only reason I say this is because I actually physically did this with previous staff as we went to Wesley Chapel. And we just did a tour. Because you don't know, oh, I should have thought of that, you know, and we got a lot of that feedback back. And one of the rooms that I don't see in here right now is like an area where, like, the clerk and you can put stuff together, where you have a copier and all your stuff, a big enough room. Is there somewhere that I'm missing? The workroom?
yeah.
Perfect, okay. But anyways,
They got me covered.
okay, well, I just wanted to make sure, because we were ticking off all these things. I missed that.
Got a nice
But-
spacious archive room too.
I guess you can take any of these offices. It seems to be plenty of offices, but, I mean, I mean, just for food for thought, if there is something that, from a planner standpoint or whatever, to reach out to other municipalities and say,
Yeah.
hey, I'm gonna come over and take a quick,
I've definitely been to a few town halls with that perspective, and I inputted that I wanted a closet attached to my office, and I got one.
or just so you can escape. Where's Rohit?
So this is
He's in the
Rohit's
closet.
office.
The problem is he can't hide, there's a window in his closet. So.
The window
That's right. You got a window in your closet, so he can get out. Okay, well, good. I mean, I just make sure you guys are getting what you need is what I guess my point is. So, okay, and then what else do we have, Christine? On
That's it.
Okay. It's a tight schedule, but I think
It's
it's
very
be done.
tight.
Yeah.
We've reviewed the schedule with our finance guys, first trying. They've been a big help in this process. We've also reviewed it with the potential civil engineer that you are looking at tonight, and Urban, and we're all on the same page. We all feel like it's aggressive, but we feel like it's doable.
Good.
All right. Very good. All right, moving on. Unfinished business. Number one, discussion consideration of proclamation 2020-12-01 to honor the life and legacy of Mayor James Don Kerr, 1934 to 2020.
See, you done messed up. You said Kerr.
Carr.
You guys have seen this before.
My bad. Apologies to the Carr family.
You're fine. You guys have seen this before. You guys approve this now. We can either invite Paulette and her family back for the January meeting, or we can deliver this to them. This will make his birthday, Don Carr Day. Basically, do you guys have any last minute changes before you approve this?
Nope.
I did not see anything, and have they had some input in it too, right?
Yeah, Paulette reviewed this when I first
Did we
drafted
just
it.
give her the plaque then? We didn't give her the proclamation when they were in?
Yeah, you guys
Okay.
initially asked me to slate this proclamation for a later meeting.
Okay. I mean, I feel like we've given her the plaque, and if she wants to come in, we can absolutely do it, but I don't want her to feel like she has to come back in.
And I can deliver it. It's not a big issue.
Yep.
I'm good with this. Do you want a motion to approve it?
Yes, please.
Okay, so I'd like to make a motion to approve Proclamation 2020-1201 to honor the life and legacy of Mayor James Donald Don Carr.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Motion
Aye.
passes. Thank you. Next up, discussion consideration of solid waste and recycling as a municipal service and authorize administrator to proceed with publication of notice.
So this is a topic that we've been discussing for several months now. It was actually a topic that y'all talked about at the budget retreat, and wanting to look at what the cost would be. And there's a memo that I had given out at the November meeting that kind of went over some of the preliminary estimates of what I thought would be the annual cost. based on similar municipalities and just some general discussions. These numbers could come in differently, but this is what we've generally estimated. A cost savings of around $100 to $150 per household, and provide us a greater service delivery than what folks are getting now. I do want to be clear that if we move forward with this, there would be no opting out of residential service, so we would be required to charge all the individual residents whatever the fee is that we decide based off of the cost of service. If we move forward with this notice, we can stop it at any time if the numbers come back more than what we expected. But we are proposing to move forward with the notice, which would notify the vendors that we are potentially displacing them. We would have this meeting in January, where y'all would talk about it in more detail. Vendors may or may not show up. Then we would RFP in March through April, and have a bid selection in the middle of April based off of the lowest responsive bidder. There would be a whole bunch of things that we have to cover in the January meeting and so forth, where we figure out a couple of, if we're going to do any type of commercial offerings for Publix and any other vendors that come in that are commercial, or if we're just going to do completely residential. We'll have to talk about, do we want recycling once a month, twice a month, every week? Do we want collection every week on a certain day? We'll have to talk about all these things, and staff will get together all those questions that we have for you all. We are working with Weddington. This is a joint project with them, and we will be spending a lot of time creating the RFP and going through the process during February. We would have to get out a notice to displace in May, and that's based off of the statute that we have to have it done no later than 6 months after the notice goes out, and then we would be able to implement in the early spring of 2022.
And where's Weddington on this process? Do you know?
They're the exact same places
We're
we
doing
are.
it together.
I wasn't sure if they were as far along as we were.
We have projected
so-
the timeline out all the way to 2022. We've got all the.
So we would be getting bids as soon as when?
The summer.
No, this spring.
This spring.
Yeah.
So that's something to pick from. And we don't necessarily, correct me if I'm wrong, have to go with the lowest bidder. Because the lowest bidder
the
doesn't
lowest-
mean you got the best service for
It's the
that.
lowest responsive bidder, and you look at what all you want, because you're gonna want different things, and you can also do a request for qualifications to base it more on the service that you're gonna get, the quality of service. And then also, as was discussed, this is starting the process, starting the notification, but it doesn't mean you're implementing it this time.
Right.
I have provided a list of comments that have been seen on social media, and some of these are in Marvin, some of them aren't. They're in the adjacent area, but a lot of them will have currently have the same vendors that are servicing Marvin, so you can kind of see some of the negative comments, the positive comments. We would be the service provider at that point in time, so we would be getting these comments. We would have to have staff to handle the comments and the contract itself, and hopefully that's something that we could cost share with Weddington.
But isn't that, if say we pick a company, wouldn't we want that company to be like there's an issue with service, it goes to their company, the company.
would,
we-
yes.
Yeah, but if somebody doesn't pick up my trash, I'm calling the village and saying, I'm paying you guys to take care of my trash, and so that one person here at the village would then call the company to deal
Right,
with the
right,
company.
I'm just trying to make, a direct hotline to the company that
Well,
won the
that would
bid.
be staff's responsibility, 'cause if
Yes.
I'm paying the village, then I'm calling the village, I'm not calling the company.
And
Is there
they would
a-
have someone, that company that's selected would have someone, we could require them to have someone locally
Yeah, I
if
was
we
gonna say,
wanted
can we
to.
build that
Yeah,
in
it's-
the contract?
build that
They
into the
have a
contract was my
service
point.
number?
Yep.
But we still have to realize that people are gonna call us.
Oh, yeah.
And so we're gonna be that hand holder and making sure that it gets done, just to have that better quality of service.
And the reason I'm asking, we're gonna have an idea by, when we get the bids, can we save money for the community?
We are.
Reason, we assume, we don't have the bids yet, but that's just another point to go after the annexation of, hey, look, you come and join us, we can save you on this.
It's also gonna be safer and more environmental friendly. There's been discussions about requiring compressed natural gas trucks, which are very environmental friendly. They're quieter, gonna be safer for kids that are out in the neighborhood riding their bikes. There's one truck that goes in. whatever day it is that we pick, and there's not, 10 different trucks going in the same neighborhood to do the same service. So it's gonna be safer and less wear and tear on
It's
the
gonna
road.
save tax money too, because the roads aren't gonna get beat up as
Yep.
quickly.
The process is, this really shouldn't be discussed too much now, because we're supposed to give the notice, and you publish a notice, and that's when you really begin to have the in-depth conversations. So this is to start the process, so your dialogue is good now, but it needs to be more,
In January?
in January after you give the notice, because
Okay.
then it's gonna be an agenda item for
It's
discussion.
official.
Okay.
Yeah, and you start making a decision, but that's when you're really supposed to be getting into the guts, because then you've provided that public notification to the.
But all you need from us is like a blessing to kind of
You
move
go.
forward with this?
Yeah, and like Chaplain said, we'll have all those questions. Do y'all want once a month recycling? We'll have all the things that y'all need to talk about in detail.
Do you have all those numbers, what the difference in the costs are?
Yeah, I can put that same number back in. The one that's
But
in-
like if we have recycling once a week, twice a week,
we won't have that
Or
till
every
we do
week.
bids.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because the bids will come back if you move forward.
And we can base the bid, and we'll have this discussion again, but we can base the bids off of alternates. We can say alternate, let's see what it costs to save, if we do it once a month, if we do it 4 times a month, we can have all that laid out.
Okay.
Great.
Thanks.
But I just want, general consensus from council that y'all want to pursue the notice to go out.
Yeah, do you want to vote on that?
Yes, please.
Okay, so I'd like to make a motion to move forward with the solid waste and recycling as a municipal service and authorize administrator to proceed with the publication of notice.
Further discussion. All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Next up, we have discuss and consider adoption of the draft fiscal year 22-26 capital improvement plan, CIP.
So I want to start off by just saying that we are way ahead of the game on this. We usually talk about this at our budget retreat. So if y'all have questions, if you want further discussion on it, it is totally fine if y'all want to have this at work session. And I'll just give you some high-level detail here. Next year, we have a total of $2.1 million in requests. Over the course of the next 5 years, we have a total of $10 million in total requests. All the detail sheets are provided in your agenda packet. Some of you may question why the town vehicle is in here if we're talking about it tonight. We left that in there just in case y'all decided not to take action tonight on that vehicle. We wanted to make sure it wasn't a forgotten purchase that's needed. So that's in there. If y'all decide to take action on that vehicle, we will remove that from the CIP, so that will reduce the total cost. Upon further questions or direction from council, we'll entertain whatever action you all want.
I got lost in these numbers, so.
Well, my thought is, we have them. Let's take some time. I mean, there's a lot of information here, and I don't think we can sit here and go through them one by one without us.
We got time.
No, we don't.
And if y'all want to have individual meetings with me, I'm totally fine with that. If 2 of them you want to come in, we can go over it in more detail.
Yeah, I would say to council that, chew on this for a little bit and then reach out to Christina, and if you have any questions, and then we can get into the weeds at a work session.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say, like, let's push it off until the January work session. Okay. But, start chewing on it, as the mayor likes to say. And, call Christina if you've got questions, or, that kind of stuff. But this is awesome, like,
Yeah, kudos, you guys having this
I
ready.
definitely spent some time going through it and made some notes and had some questions, so I look forward to getting those answers.
Okay, so we'll put this on the agenda for the work session
Yeah.
to discuss and encourage council to reach out to Christina ahead of time if there's really some things you're not clear of. So set that packet aside. All right. Are we all good with that to move on then, Christina?
Okay. Project discussion. That's all right.
What are we doing?
I'm just correcting one.
Yeah. he's just, I'm sure, cut and pasted.
What happened? It's just a typo.
An awesome job, like, really good job for all
Good
of
deal.
staff, because I know that you guys worked hard on this.
Thank you, Jane. That was good. Okay, so we're on to the next, discuss and consider adoption of proposed fiscal year 22 budget calendar.
So inside of your agenda packets is the proposed timeline that we have for budget. This is just to give staff some, some targets to work on certain accomplishments and make sure that we're all on the same page. Last year, we were able to do the budget pretty, expediently because of the CIP that had already been approved. And so some of these budget retreats may not be necessary, but the work sessions, I should say, the budget work sessions. But they're in here in case we need them. We're just asking for approval on this. This is a revaluation year, so that we are required to issue what's called a tax neutral rate, which basically means we will tell you what the revenue neutral rate is, and y'all can decide to keep it or not. That basically means that we could go up or down on the taxes and receive the same amount of income, just based on what the revaluation of the total valuation of the village properties are. This happens
I thought it was
4
every years. I thought it was every 8 years.
It's required to be every 8 years, but I think Union County does it every 4 years, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, because I thought we just went through this not long ago.
They'll be giving a presentation in January
Okay.
at our
How's it
work
looking?
session.
Anyone know ahead of time? I haven't talked to them.
Nancy has, but I haven't.
Talk to who?
Anyone at the county level to see if it's looking like, rates are going to go up or down, or valuations, home valuations.
So valuations go up, we could potentially go down on our tax rate and still have the same amount of income.
Right.
And just the opposite could happen. If valuations go down, we could go up on our tax rate, but still have the same impact to the property owners. That's what the revenue neutral is.
Okay.
My only concern with this schedule is the work session on the 27th of May where we actually adopt it. People are going to lose their minds that we're doing it in the morning, and how dare us do something so important as adopting the budget in the morning and not doing it in the evening. So we need to find a night to do that.
When's the May night meeting?
The May, when is the what?
May meeting?
Okay.
11th.
May 11th.
Yeah, May 11th.
Budget work sessions, 5:30.
May 11th is the
I'm
night.
pretty, I get what you're saying. I'm pretty sure the morning adoption of the budget is pretty normal for local government.
Well,
We can change
Not
it.
here in Marvin.
Oh,
But
okay.
people will lose their minds that we're trying to do something while people are at work.
Okay, we can,
So let's do it at night so that we don't even have anybody stirring the pot about it.
Push up my schedule.
That's fair.
I mean, we can do it that night. We can do it the Tuesday night.
I will say the
Or we
next,
can do a special meeting.
we're talking about the 11th. The next day is the town hall meeting, so that would be a good opportunity for public input. But
Well, I mean, they're
we
gonna
can
have
do
to
the
get,
adoption that night if y'all.
yeah, but we're not supposed to do business like at the town halls, right? That's
No,
just
if it's open
No,
forum,
just
then
make
we
a
should be
notice.
doing business.
You give notice to put on the agenda, you can.
I'd rather just,
Yeah, I think we should probably separate, because, I mean, that's really for back and forth, I don't think it's really,
and I mean, I'm fine if we wanna have the work session on the 27th and just have it at night. Just do it at 6 o'clock
I'm
instead of 9 o'clock.
I think that's probably your easiest.
Yeah.
But does everybody agree that it should be done in the evening?
Yeah, to avert any,
Usually you would hear from someone before, but
Rohit's gonna go ahead and pull the schedule up, and then we
You
can.
were here 3 years ago, weren't you?
I know, but
Rob, what do you think?
I'm gonna let a few people.
No, kind of taking a different take on it. I kind of agree with Councilwoman Vandenberg that, it's more transparent, people are more available.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with it if it's done in the evening.
We're not hiding anything. I'm fine with whatever.
We can do June 8th, which is You wanna do it before November?
I just think you just move to that night.
Yeah.
And just, instead of having the,
Push it on. I'd rather
Instead of
have
having a
enough
work
time,
session.
God forbid, something happens and we have to move it. I do not want to bump up to July 1.
So do you wanna do a special meeting?
Can't go
at
July.
6
No, no,
o'clock?
I know.
no, I would just say take the work session from 9 AM in the morning
To 6 p.m.
to 6 PM at night, 6:30 PM at night.
Yeah, we'll just do,
Yeah.
yeah, just like we would an
I
normal
agree.
council meeting. Got no issue with that.
So what we'll do is we'll amend your cancel schedule,
Yeah.
your meeting schedule to include that, but if y'all wanna adopt this budget timeline based on the amendment of 9 AM to 6 PM,
Yep,
and then we will.
6:30.
6:30, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
6:30. Okay, so I'd like to make a motion to adopt the proposed fiscal year 22 budget calendar as amended.
Further discussion? All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next up, discussion and consideration. She made the motion, everyone.
I got it on tape.
Okay. The discussion consideration of entering contract with Yarborough and Williams and Hull at a cost not to exceed $8,000 for surveying Village Hall property and authorize manager to execute contract with terms and conditions as attached pending attorney review.
Take one and pass it down, please.
So at the time of agenda
Same
publication, we
day,
didn't have this
time of
proposal.
6:30 PM.
Going around the table is the actual proposal that they've submitted to us as of yesterday, and it came in at $3,000, which was right on target with what I expected. This is the same firm that did the survey before, and we're just asking to go ahead and enter a contract with them to redo the survey to include any changes that have happened to that property, which include the roundabout construction. This is needed for the civil engineer to begin work on this
So
project.
they're just gonna survey it, they're not gonna lay it out.
Yes, they're just surveying the property.
And it came in much lower than the $8,000 if you want.
They've done this property before.
They have, yes.
All right, any questions?
So I'd like to make a motion to enter a contract with Yarborough, Williams, and Hool at a cost not to exceed $8,000 for surveying Village Hall properties, and authorize manager to execute contract with terms and conditions as attached pending the attorney review.
Further discussion? All's in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Next up, discussion and consideration of RS-2020-12-02, authorizing purchase of a vehicle under state contract.
This is a resolution to authorize the purchase of the vehicle that's been discussed for our park employees. We did look at the 2020 options that council had requested, and unfortunately, at this time, there are none available. The 2021 is the one that's available at a cost of $25,304. That would be the total check paid to the vehicle vendor, and then the tax tags would be, paid to the state. So we're just asking for authorization via this resolution to go ahead and appropriate that funding.
I just want to make sure we have very visible signs. Like, are they magnet signs, are they,
We have to order those.
like, do they?
So that'd be vinyl. You just have to
On
get
the
that done
vehicle,
once,
yeah.
once
Yeah,
the
be like
purchase.
stickers.
I just want to make sure that we've got good visibility.
Get our seal on there and all
Yeah.
that stuff.
Ride Santa around in it.
Who, we probably should check and see who, Union County gets, who's there, maybe we can just get a good deal out there.
From where?
Whoever Union County does their vehicles with.
Oh, they all go through Raleigh, right?
No, that's the purchase.
know.
of the vehicle.
Oh, the purchase.
You're talking about
Oh,
the
wait.
decal.
Oh, I
Yeah.
see.
I just call it ProCal.
Yeah. That's pretty smart.
I mean, they might, municipalities, they might get a good deal. But
Okay,
anyway,
so I'd like to make a motion to,
No one has a problem with the purchase of a truck, right?
I mean, we've been
Robert?
talking about it for
I know.
like four,
Just making
I
clear.
know, I'm just saying.
Y'all are gonna talk about it.
Bob, you good?
I'm good.
Okay.
All right.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt RS 2020-12-02 to that should be exempt, should it? Should that be execute procurement requirements?
It should be exempt.
Should it?
Yes.
To exempt procurement, requirements and to piggyback off NC State contract for the purchase of a 2021 Ford F-150.
And we are purchasing that outright, correct? Not leasing?
Purchase.
Okay. Further discussion? All's in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes. Next up, a discussion consideration of Greenway flooding option. Did I move? I went ahead. Sorry. Consideration, next up, consideration adoption of OR-2020
Answer your question.
-12-01 for the transfer of $30,000 from unassigned fund balance to culture and recreation budget for the purchase of one vehicle for park and facility staff.
So moved.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. I guess we gotta fund it.
Yep.
All right, next up, little details.
I think Bob had a question.
Bob, you good?
Yeah, no, I just had the question, earlier today, council, I had called Christina when I was going through the draft budget. I saw that there was an allocation for the leasing, there was a page in there for 4 years. That page would be eliminated, right, Christina?
Correct, yes. That number was just left in there just in case y'all decided not to vote for this item. We wanted to make sure that project was still under, some level of
Yeah.
decision-making.
Okay.
And then
Thank you.
the only other question I would have is, do we do anything like extended warranties or consider that for the, because I know they have options to go to 100,000 miles or 5 years, whichever goes first. I mean, there's options when you buy cars. Have we considered that? Or does that just in the agreement and it just comes, usually it's 5 years, 50,000 miles is the standard? That's
Do you
all
know
you get.
anything about that? Do you know any other terms?
Not the resident.
Only because I was in the process of just doing this for myself, so.
We moved 30,000 over, right, so there should be enough to cover if
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
And you can
available,
get
what it
them,
would be.
I negotiated half-heartedly and got it under $2,000, so you can do it if we think we're gonna drive that many miles. It's more for the mileage than it is for the, because I don't think we're putting 100,000 miles on in 5 years.
Joe, I think that's a great idea. You should call and negotiate that. I think that's a great idea.
I gotta think that if it's a
Just
state
saying, it's in the
contract
fund.
vehicle, it's probably a state contract price on a warranty too.
Right, but you can also, you can add an additional extended warranty on the there's a standard warranty that comes with it, so.
Under the state contract price, so they're not gonna deviate from that, because they've already cut their.
Right, okay. But there should be, to your point, Andy, there should be some funds in there for.
We'll have Christina look into that.
We've got the 30,000, which is
Yeah.
probably over than, what we need, but if we think it's beneficial, we will purchase it.
No road trips. All right, next up,
Derek thought that was funny.
Bob did.
Bob did. I don't think Derek did.
I appreciate the laughter, Bob. Next up, discussion and consideration of Greenway flooding options.
All right, so you have your memos written up. This came up, this has been a topic that's come across our plates for a while. Dealing with the flooding issue on the Greenway, just north of the school. Christina asked me to research this a little bit a couple months ago, and we went through our engineer to get some state vendors who could get us some much better rates if we were to choose to repair it. I have since all this kind of came about, I have not seen the flooding be a problem. And a couple other residents have made note that they think that the work that was done by DOT on the ditch and the recent power line work has reduced the problem. So we can consider all options on the table, whether there's 3 quotes in front of you to fix it, or I won't say fix it, I'll say to raise it up so that we know that the flooding is not an issue. But I personally think we wait and watch it for another.
How long are the bids good for?
That I don't know.
Okay. I'll just go first and say, full disclosure, my wife runs this trail every day. I asked her before I left. She absolutely thinks that whole area has been improved because she when I ride a bike, she has me go ahead to see if she can run through it.
Yeah.
And then I'll run back and say, yeah, you're good to go, or we'll go out on the street. She said, and she runs almost daily that route. And with all this rain, has not seen a problem. So I personally think we hold off on spending anything else, because I did see the workers in there doing the work that needed, got to be done, and sounds like they're pretty good.
But that was, what they were doing was, they were doing power line work, and so because we talked about this in detail at Park Rec and Greenway Board, and the board's suggestion is to wait it out and let's see, instead of spending this much money. But apparently when they were out working on the power lines, they squished down the berm that we had built up, or the DOT had built up. So what I said was, they need to go back and fix that, because we should not be responsible for going back and fixing that. Union Power needs to go back out and fix that.
I agree 100% on that one, because I thought we had spent a bunch of time and effort not too long ago fixing this whole problem and thought it was repaired, and I thought this was behind us. So if Union Power did screw up the berm and cause problems,
Well, I don't know
fix it.
that it's not flooding yet, but the berm definitely has gotten squished down, and they just did this work within the past 3 weeks-ish.
Yeah, if that.
So if it's been compromised, it could potentially cause a problem next heavy rain.
That's why
Right.
we suggested that Derek checks in with Union Power, or somebody does, to find out what, or how they're gonna fix the berm back, to put it back into the state that it was in. Because it wasn't just a whole bunch of dirt piled up for a reason. I mean, it was
Right.
done
That's fair.
intentionally, so.
I think that's fair, but at the end of the day, we're still waiting on this.
Yes.
I think we make a move on that.
Yes,
So,
I agree.
Derek, if we could maybe just have you reach out to Union County and see if, or is that
It's
something?
Union Power.
Union Power.
We'll work together.
Okay.
So we're gonna hold off on, we're gonna watch it, watch the water.
Baby fish. All right, next up, number 9, discussion consideration eliminating parking passes other than professional passes for Marvin Eford Park and the raised professional pass fee amount to be determined.
So if you've been around long enough, you've heard the parking pass conversation come up a time or two. It came about recently at PRG. There are 2 new members on that board, and the board is almost unanimously, but pretty much in favor of doing away with the parking passes. What I did in your memo is I listed out the different parking passes, just in case you weren't familiar. They are recommending doing away with the non-taxpayer annual and day passes. Basically making our park like most other parks, and that it's open to the public. So we do make some money from selling those annually. It helps with traffic control. We use it as a deterrent for moving people along who are only in the park looking for a spot to do things they shouldn't. And we can still do that. They suggested raising the professional pass fee to help compensate for that loss of revenue. I completely agree. I think people that use the park on a professional basis make out very well for $100 a year. I mean, you know, photographer pays $100 a year, they get a pass. They're going out there charging $150 for a 30-minute session, and they're doing that 2 days a week for 8 weeks straight in the fall. Bob Nunnenkamp and myself are trying to research around all the different parks around the area, just to give you some comparisons, and we don't have all that together. I think that's why I noted that if you do decide to raise the professional fee, that maybe we wait on the exact amount. But just what I've heard everything just in my initial conversations. Some people don't charge for professional access. They invite whoever to use the park. And then others, if they have a facility that they're using, like the barn, they're either charging for an hourly basis, or they're doing like a compensation split, like an 80-20 deal. So I think we're very unique, obviously. Like, we're not just a park, we do have the barn, and the professionals want to use the barn sometimes too, the dog training classes, the exercise classes. But then we have the park too, you know, with the trail running training groups, the photographers. So I think all options are on the table.
So when is the calendar year over for park passes? I mean, when you buy a park pass, is it just when you buy it, it's good for a year, or do they start and they prorate it? How do we do it? I can't remember.
Just to the end of the year,
To
right?
the end of the year.
So it's the end of this year?
Yeah.
Okay, so the only thing I would suggest is we're gonna lose, what did I see, a couple $1,000?
We have issued, some people have gotten passes for 2021.
Right, so we have to reimburse them, obviously.
Which is
But-
$450.
Right, $450, but overall, annually, we, $2,150, right?
Yeah.
Have you looked at people that rent the barn that are not residents? Because the other way to maybe increase that is increase the rate of non-residents that are renting the barn.
We just did
Yeah,
that.
we just did that.
You just did that
Yeah.
again.
We just raised the fees across the board when we added the picnic shelter.
So I think doing a professional pass going up in that, and so after you and Bob have done your research,
Yeah.
I think that's our answer to that. Cause you're right, cause you said that like one day there was like 8 photographers in there looking for the perfect, you know, waiting in line for the perfect spot to take a picture. And, you know, you've got 8 in there, you know, you bump it up $50, $100, and some parks, she said, they charge by the hour. So I think that our professional passes, and people will pay it too. You know, people will pay that. So I think that's where we make up that revenue, and we just get rid of the
Pass through.
the passes, the parking passes.
And on a
We'll get it figured out.
somewhat
It's-
legal note, most of the times with the park systems, you don't have fees. It's more of a state and it's dedicated under the public interest doctrine for everybody as a whole because of constitutional reasons. There's a lot of freedom of speech in parks. There's a lot of history behind that. Professionals are different. And that's why you probably see in this in some other areas where they're charging people who are trying to make money or charging for the facility, but not just the general use. So that's why you see most parks throughout the state that there aren't charges. Everybody kind of gets to use them. So this would be more consistent with what you see in more places.
It's my understanding that if you walked in, there was no fee.
Right.
I like
Any
it different.
Yeah, you just have to go to park.
Right, okay.
All right, so I'm gonna make a motion to, I don't know,
Eliminate parking.
eliminate
Non-resident,
non-taxpayer parking passes, annual and day
non-Marvin
passes.
resident. How about that?
Non-Marvin resident, annual passes and day passes for the Marvin Eastern Park.
Further discussion?
Aye.
All those in favor?
Aye.
There you go.
All right, so Derek, you'll get back to us on some suggestions for what the professional fee should be? Okay.
Okay. And next up is the just pull the item that we pulled. I just had 2 quick questions. I think I have 2 quick questions. Which is from the consent agenda. Once we approve that ordinance, how soon does that go into effect?
The ordinance is actually in effect right now. We did not include the language Monday through Friday in the original ordinance, so we're just cleaning that up. So but the ordinance is already in place right now.
Okay, but then when do you expect them
That's
to be
fine.
But it's not
live?
effective till the sign's up.
The sign, the encroachment agreement is the second item that you pulled. That has to be approved and submitted to DOT for their signature, and hopefully we'll have a sign up by the end of the year.
Okay, all right, so
Okay.
you need adoption of both of these then?
Right.
Okay.
So the only thing I say is let's make sure we got clear communication as best we can through the, you know, that we're doing that and when it's happening, so.
Yeah, it's gonna be in the year in review
Okay.
newsletter.
Just
and
wanted-
no,
All right, I wanted to get a date on it from them, so that's the only reason I pulled. So, so I also need to make a motion, go back to that, what you were
All right.
saying.
Me?
Yeah, or making a motion to
Yeah.
approve that for the consent.
Yeah, you want me to do that now?
Yeah, because that was in the consent.
Yeah. All right, so I'd like to make a motion to adopt OR-2020-12-02, an ordinance to amend OR-2020-11-05, an ordinance amending Chapter 74, traffic schedules, establishing Schedule 2, turning movements to prohibit left turns onto Marvin Road from Newtown Road during certain peak hours.
Further discussion? All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
So I'd like to make a motion to approve the encroachment agreement with NCDOT to restrict left-hand turns for eastbound traffic on Newtown Road from 3:30 PM to 6:30 PM Monday through Friday, and authorize the manager to execute the agreement.
The only thing I say to that, 6:30 we're okay with, and not 7?
That's with, yeah.
Okay.
That's what they agreed
I
to.
tried to seven two when we already agreed with
All
DOT,
right.
so.
Further discussion? All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you for
You're welcome.
allowing me to just ask a few questions. Next up, new business discussion, consideration of projects for Marvin, Eford Park, and approved facilities manager to set up sponsorship structure to raise money for project. That's where I heard that idea. I knew I got it from somewhere. No, yeah, I was saying, hey, we
He
should
had a
just-
great idea earlier, and I had to sponsor for the Greenway, so I'm gonna just wait for it.
I knew I had that idea somewhere.
All right, so you know me, I'm always looking for ways to enhance the park and our facilities around town. And I've come across two things that I think would really make us stand out and would really fit with the style and the feel of our park. So I put those two items in your agenda packet. One is a fitness trail. It's a 20-station workout course per se. The course would be the trail, the walking trail. What we would be purchasing is the equipment to put together the stations and signage for each station. And the way it's designed is that you can buy the sign package where they can do a sponsor plaque for you on the sign for each station. So in a similar fashion, I came across recently this new thing that Innova Disc Golf has put together, and it's called the Ace Place course. And it's a 9-hole, family-friendly, what they call short course. So it's designed for smaller areas, 2 to 3 acres. The maximum hole distance would be, it's like 115 feet, I think, or maybe yards.
Or yards, total.
Yeah. Everything is a par 3. And so I met with one of the representatives from Innova. He actually designed the prototype course that's down in Rock Hill, where their headquarters is, and he's like, man, you guys have the perfect location for one of these. And so with your blessing, what I would like to do is, instead of trying to find money in the budget for these things, I'd like to go and sell sign sponsors on both on the fitness trail, one for each station, and on the disc golf course, one for each hole.
So, if I'm a advertiser and I sign up, how long are you thinking that I get my sign up there at that? Say, for instance, we do a 9-hole disc playing thing, and I got my real estate company that is on hole number 1. How long do I get to keep
It's your
it?
development company, Joe.
That's my development company. I forgot. Correct. The record here is for, apparently I have a development company.
The record's
I'm
been
kidding,
corrected.
by the way.
I'm thinking 5 years. Okay. Now the
Okay.
reason I wrote it up like this because I'm going to need some input probably from our attorney and other people who've done this in the past. So that's why I wrote it to set up the sponsorship structure, because I'm not 100% certain on exactly how to go about it, but just initial thoughts are 5 years.
And then they re-up to the same amount, because you think wear and tear and stuff like that. How do you fund that?
What are you asking for? The cost of the particular structure from each participant, or how do you? propose to do that?
I'm gonna break it down into,
Got 9 holes, 9 sponsors.
yeah.
Divided equally for
$1,000.
the entire project or whatever it is?
Yeah, they're projecting it's gonna be $8,500.
Yep, for $1,000.
So it's, you know, just under 1,000. I would think that's how it would work out. It'd be easy math right there.
Or you could do a little bit more on the first and the last one.
Yeah, for premium spots.
Oh,
Hole
yeah.
number 1.
Gold, silver, bronze, like I was talking about.
Hey, listen, I'm open to all ideas. I just want your blessing on these projects at our park. Because I think they would fit great. I think they would be used.
Now this disc golf's gonna be at the park, but the fitness trail's gonna be along the loop, right?
If I had my choice, I'd put one at the park and the loop. I think.
Well, I think if you get enough sponsors, then
Yeah.
we can do both.
Which would you prioritize first?
Loop.
I think it would get more use on the loop.
So are we making this play in COVID times?
I mean, the park's open.
You know, go out.
And we're
You're
not,
outside.
we're not supplying discs or anything like that. It's,
I understand that, but I'm just saying like the workout equipment and stuff that people are on and
I mean,
just asking.
What is-
I'm not a scientist, don't
What
play
does this
one.
consist of, the workout equipment?
it's not even it's like a push-up station.
There's stations, you go there and you do certain things and they have,
Okay.
you know, like a
So-
pull
And
up.
I'll, like, there's one of these at Holden Beach, and every time I'm at the beach, they use it. I mean, people are, they're using them, like, all the time.
Totally.
They're very cool, you see them all over the world, actually. They're
Okay,
in
so this is
places.
outdoor equipment that's getting full UV all day long.
Yeah.
Not a problem.
Treated yellow pine,
Yeah, that's.
3-inch.
I wasn't
Derek,
worried too much
are you
about
wanting
the,
their blessing just on the concept and you'll come back with them with sponsorship package for
Yeah,
consideration?
blessing on, the concept of the project and permission to go and set up a sponsorship structure to try to pay for these projects.
Yeah, and I would need to look into that. I mean, you see these corporate stadiums and things like that, but there are some limitations on the governmental entity seeking funds. I don't think it's going to be a problem because they're going to get a benefit out of the advertisement that I need to kind
Pending
of
a permit review.
Yeah, need to wrap my.
You get a yes or me on all three.
yeah, I'm inclined to, go with it. I think it's if it works, then it's a great aspect for the community. We need more activities to do in the community, and I think
Especially
it's-
outdoor activities.
Exactly, so I think this is it's a good idea. Kudos for putting in the time and effort for this. I think it's a great thing.
You're welcome.
And for me, I think that the signs are done tastefully at the stations of the 9 holes. You know, there's just a little plaque there or something that's not obnoxious and stuff. I can see that going in for the park and, you know, it's people going up there and maybe a contact or whatever they decide. There's got to be some sort of standards. I mean,
Yeah, I'll bring everything back to you guys for a review, approval. I just want your
50,000 foot blessing.
to,
I'll give you my 5,000 for
to
blessing.
spend time on it.
If it's neutral, if it's budget neutral, I'm very much, you know, in favor of it, especially if it doesn't cost us something we can add to the community and something to do at the park or along the trails. I think it's a great idea.
So we can work together and come up with a sponsorship package based off of dollar amounts and how we see it fit. Work with Chaplain, we can bring it at the work session in January.
Guaranteed, I got a guy already I know that he's always asking, trying to figure out how he can get his name out there and stuff. So if we're
You got
doing
a
it, I got a guy.
You got a guy.
We'll throw it out to the whole community, but it'd be first come, first serve, I
Yeah.
assume. So.
Okay.
Any questions on the logistics of the projects, of the disc golf course and the fitness trail?
I'm
No, I
fine.
think it's great.
Yeah.
Love it.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Great job.
All right, thank you. Next up, we have discussion and consideration of RS-2020-12-01 to exempt engineering and landscape architectural services for the Village Hall project from procurement requirements.
So similar to that we did with landscape architect, urban, we can exempt those services from the procurement as long as they do not exceed $50,000. We do not anticipate the service exceeding $50,000, so we are asking for the resolution to be approved to exempt from those procurement requirements. And the later item in your agenda is an actual agreement that is set forth.
Is this our procurement requirements or statutory?
Both.
State statute as well, because
But
they
we
have.
can exempt them?
Yeah, with this $50,000 limit, there's a strange provision that they put on a few of the professional services, the survey and the engineering and architecture. And then, so they put on a strange statute, but then they came back and put a way to exempt it. Go figure.
And you're okay with this?
I am.
And we would do it just to keep the timeline moving forward, and we know who we want to use because we've used them before? Correct.
We have not used Dewberry, who we had.
But we use the
The engineer.
engineer that
Engineer
moved to
itself.
Dewberry. Okay.
Yeah, and I think you look at it from a efficiency standpoint. This person has already done so much work. You're probably going to get a better rate and get quicker time deliveries.
Thanks, Derek.
Thanks, Derek.
Bye, Derek.
Thanks, Derek. See you on Friday, right?
Yes, sir.
Santa. Driving Santa around.
I think I'll be here. I'll be here helping with that.
You know what? Get in the car. I'll pick one of you. Any one of you. I'll tell you right now.
What time is it?
We're changing the subject. We'll talk about it later.
Well, I'm gonna do that.
We might have
Open,
staged it.
open,
We got Santa right there.
open topics, Joe. Open
It needs
topics.
to be whiter. Bob's is too gray. Sorry, Bob.
Santa's been taking a tuck.
All right.
Santa's been stressed out over COVID. He's
All right. I'm gonna make a motion. I'm gonna make a motion to consider.
To adopt.
I'm gonna make a motion to approve RS-2020-12-01 to exempt engineering and landscape architectural services for the Village Hall project from procurement requirements per attorney's. You've already looked at it, so, yeah, never mind. We'll stop there.
Further discussion? All's in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Can we take a quick bio break?
Really?
Well, you can keep
Okay.
going if you want.
No, okay.
So, motion to recess?
Motion to recess for 5 minutes.
So moved.
Thank you.
Recess. We're live again.
Yeah.
All right, I'd like to reconvene the meeting.
Okay.
All's in favor?
All in favor? I mean, aye.
Aye.
Is that a motion?
I guess. I don't know. Do we need one?
No, you don't. I don't think
Okay,
you do.
so, but I'm just checking off the boxes. Okay.
We'll call
where
that a
we
thing
at?
one vote.
We are at number 3. Next up, we have discussion and consideration of ending services with ESP and entering contract with Dewberry Engineering, Inc. at a cost not to exceed $50,000 for engineering and landscape architecture services, authorizing the manager to execute contract with terms and conditions as attached pending village attorney review. I feel like I read that already, but I should have taken it very close.
So this is the civil engineer contract that is required for Village Hall property. This is the same civil engineer that we used at the previous plans. He just moved firms. We have fulfilled our commitment with ESP. I'm just asking for full closure on that commitment with them. There's no financial obligation to them whatsoever, and to move forward with Dewberry to maintain the same actual engineers. That, again, to Chaplain's point, there's no learning curve costs associated there. The anticipated costs are around $47,000 as the contract is provided in your agenda packets.
All right. I like
So
to
it's
make-
just a matter of guy moving, right?
Yes.
That's all. Okay. The firm we don't know, though. We know the firm?
We have not worked with this firm before.
Okay. All right. Go ahead. If you want to make the motion, I'm sorry.
No, I didn't mean to.
It's all right.
Is there more discussion? Anybody want to talk?
Well, that's what, when you make the motion,
Okay.
I'll ask that.
I'd like to make a motion to,
End services.
what do I want to do? To approve ending services with ESP and entering contract with Dewberry Engineering Inc. at a cost not to exceed $50,000 for civil engineering and landscape architecture services, authorizing the manager to execute contract with terms and conditions as attached, pending village attorney review.
There's some additional cardio for the day.
Yeah.
I did plenty earlier.
Further discussion? All's in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. All right. Moving on, number 4, discuss and consider appointment of 2 council members to the Centralina Regional Council
Jean?
as delegate and alternate members for 2021. I have sat on this group for a while and I'd love to,
Well, I think you're the alternate because Jamie's the member.
you are? Have you been to one yet? Yeah.
I was about to say, I hope it has.
It's a little bit of a drive out there, but,
Are they all online now?
It is, it's a little clunky, but
You good keeping doing it, Jamie?
yeah.
all right.
Joe, you good still being the alternate?
What was it?
On the,
Oh, it's a wingman.
yeah,
Always a wingman.
CRTPO?
No, that's not CRTPO, this is Central Line.
No, I know, but I'm the alternate for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, on CRTPO. So that's not changing, I don't think.
But Jamie will still be Centralina and Joe, you can be backup.
I want to make a motion to have her do the backup.
No, I'm not PR&G, man. I got enough on my plate.
All right, I'll back you up.
Cause I come in for meetings.
I got it.
So you do need a motion for that.
Okay.
So moved. I mean,
What was the motion?
Yeah.
hang on,
Be official.
I'll do it.
Make a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Jamie Lyon to the Centralina Regional Council as a delegate and Mayor Polino as the alternate member for 2021.
Further discussion? All's in favor?
Aye. Good job, everybody. Woo!
Yeah. Sign me up. Thank
Bob,
you,
you're
Jamie.
lucky you were sitting down. I was gonna nominate you for that.
All right, moving on to discussion consideration 2021 coffee with council dates, January through March. Get your schedules out, everybody.
All right, Bob and I have next Monday, right, Bob?
Next Monday,
Are you coming in with me?
Yeah, maybe, yeah,
Okay.
I think so.
Okay.
Next Monday, you guys are meeting, huh?
Yeah.
For your calendar for 2021, I went ahead and highlighted the days that are consistent with what you've been doing.
Yep.
So,
Okay.
Perfect. I think Andy should do all of them since he stood Jamie up.
I guarantee you, whatever day you put me down for, I'll be out of town. Because this is exactly how it happens every
Do you
time.
want to go in my place on Monday?
No, I cannot do anything the rest of the year.
Okay.
January,
Maybe.
yes. Wear me out, but to the
I
end
have
of
no
the
idea
year,
who this is for.
You said,
no way.
Derek, I don't know.
You do it on the 26th
Oh,
of
okay.
January.
Sorry, who picked the, is it, sorry, I blanked out for a second.
Sorry. I can do the 7th of January.
I'll do it with you.
Kim and Jamie, okay.
We always have a good time.
To the 7th. I do like sitting in on y'all's conversations.
All right, Bob, you said you want to do the 26th?
Yes,
Okay, who wants to do it with Bob?
I will come and do it with Bob.
Andy.
I'm scared.
All right.
I'm off for January.
Yep.
So that's Kim and
Jamie and Bob and Andy.
got it. Okay.
Now we're on to February.
Moving on to February, the 4th.
I can do the 4th.
Get my dates.
If anybody wants to do it with me.
That's in the morning, right? I'll do that.
Okay.
Kim and Joe.
I cannot do it on the 23rd.
I'll be. We have a whatchamacall on the 19th.
Oh,
a retreat
Yes.
on the 19th. I remember. And then
Who has a retreat?
we have a
The
retreat.
retreat's on the 19th.
19th and 20th. Remember, you're getting me something for my birthday.
Oh, yeah.
So I got February 23rd, right?
You can if you want it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
I just put it in here.
Jamie.
Jamie's in. Anybody else?
Who wants to do it with
Bob?
Jamie?
I can do it, Jamie, sure.
All right.
Okay, Jamie and Bob.
Wait, I just
So
love this.
what's the 19th
Is the retreat for,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
usually a 2-day, we leave the 20th open, but we usually can get through it on the 19th, hopefully in that day.
All right, so hold on. Kim and Joe are on the 4th.
Usually.
And then
Or Fire.
Jamie and
No, we're
Bob.
doing it at Firethorn.
Wow. They used to take them off, like they would go away, like 2 hours away or stay somewhere.
Why wouldn't you?
Well, we used to do that, but then it's a public meeting, so you have to hold a public, and then it became a financial thing. And I agree with you 100%. In fact, if I could house you all, I'd bring you down to the coast.
We can talk about
Kim's
it
got a
again,
big
because I think
place.
we actually budgeted money for it. if y'all-
Hey guys, you were saying the retreat is the 19th and 20th?
Yes, sir.
Friday and
I
Saturday.
have the 5th and the 6th. Why do I have that? Was that changed?
That was changed.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's not a problem. I just asked him.
Okay, so we are back on, we can't talk about retreat because we're not
Sorry.
talking about retreat. but that's-
Who's doing the 23rd with Jamie?
That was Bob.
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 Okay, so now we're on to March 4th.
Okay, Joe, you should do that since you've only had one so far.
I like doing the evenings though.
Okay.
We can do 23rd.
I'll do 23rd, making sure.
I cannot do the 4th,
I'll do the 4th.
but I can do the 23rd with you.
You can?
No, oh, that's fine.
I'll do
it
the
with you.
4th.
Okay, Andy will do the 4th. Who wants to do with Andy?
I'll do it.
Okay.
Andy and Jamie.
Yeah, I was beginning to wonder.
He just doesn't want you to stand up on the
Quiet. He's afraid to do it because I just did
So who's doing it with
Yeah,
Joe on the
yeah.
23rd?
Hey, I'm putting in parentheses, I'm on call. I'll leave that open for you. Hey, work happens. It's
Am I
a
doing
way
this?
of life.
Am I doing it with Joe?
You can if you want.
A lot of stuff.
Okay.
I'm really fun to be with.
So much.
All right, thank you for that. That's all done through March. I think I like how that we're doing this.
And then you'll get calendar invites.
Please. All right, next up, discussion consideration of RS-2020-12-03 to support Union County BRIC grant applications for stormwater study and reaffirm commitment to match $3,500.
Did I already do this?
Yes, we did already do this. So
Okay,
the
we're
county,
just doing it again?
the county applied for the same grant to the DOT as a build grant and were not awarded it. They are taking the opportunity now to take the same grant and apply it to FEMA through their BRIC program, which is Building Resilient Infrastructures and Communities. It's the same grant, it's the same details, the same asking match that they're asking of us, and the resolution here is for you, the council, to support the county's application and also pledge to match the $3,500 that you pledged to match when they were applying for the build grant that they didn't receive back then.
It's kind of like a do-over.
Yes. They're applying the same grant to another agency, basically. And just,
So what do you need from us?
if you would,
Recommitted?
yes, if you would approve the resolution, which basically supports the county and pledges $3,500 if they win the grant.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to approve the resolution RS 2020-1203, a resolution to support the Union County BRIC grant application for stormwater study.
In the end, it helps us, and we already agreed to this before, so,
Yeah.
further discussion? All's in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Next up, we have discussion of reconfiguration
I
options
hope you have pictures.
and matches for the
Yeah.
Joe Carr
Thank you.
and Marvin Road and Bonds Grove Church and Waxhaw Marvin. Bonds Grove Church and Waxhaw Marvin Road intersections.
Okay, so these two projects are on the critical intersections list as we've talked about a few times for the county. Joe Carr and Marvin Road are kind of later in the game, but we're already talking about it anyway. The Waxhaw Marvin Road, let's talk about that one first. I don't know which one I put on the agenda first, but there are two, wait.
What list did you say they were on? What list did you say these projects
They're on
are?
the Union County's 2019 critical intersections list.
It's not happening in 2019. They should
No,
figure
no,
it
they
out.
The list is
The
2019.
list was made in 2019. But so this is underway right now. The consultants is RS&H, and they don't have schematics yet, but basically this is the intersection, and they have basically one of three ideas that they're mulling around right now, and each of them are viable, but the county wanted to get your opinion, your idea on, basically one concept is to put a roundabout right there. That's my option 1 drawing. Let's see. Option 2 would be to reconfigure this intersection so that Wax on Marvin Road is the through movement. So it would look like that.
And there's like a stop sign for Bonds Grove.
Yes, that's the second idea. And then the third idea is the same thing, but
There's a stop sign
signalized.
there already, so
No,
how is
The
it?
stop sign is on Waxhaw Marvin.
I know where the stop sign is, but there's still a stop sign there already, so they're just gonna put the stop sign in a different place and think that it's gonna help the traffic there?
Well,
Well,
it would,
they do
because
think that
the
because-
majority of the traffic goes Waxhaw Marvin
That's
Road,
true,
not
that's
Bonds Grove Church
There's
Road.
about 13,000, I think it was, or 15,000 vehicles that travel through on Waxhaw Marvin, but only about 3,000 that travel
Still
on
gonna
Bonds
fail.
Grove.
Hold on a second, only because there's an issue when you get to Bonds Grove
Yeah,
and
Providence.
Providence.
Mhm.
Nobody wants to go that way. So if you're gonna go over that way, you're not going that way to go north.
Yeah.
You're going that way to go south, which you can obviously access through Waxhaw Marvin. So, the count may change as the change happens over at Bonds Grove. I mean, just to be fair. on
But,
that.
I watch this a lot because I travel this road a lot. It's on my end of town. And primarily it's through traffic that comes through Marvin going to Waxhaw.
Mhm.
It's the commuter traffic that primarily runs that. I think that is probably a more viable solution, especially short term, because it's probably going to be cheaper.
Oh, yeah.
At least for the short term, and then look down the road. But I've thought about this for a couple of years now. I think originally the traffic probably went primarily down Bonds Grove Church Road. That's why it's designed the way it is. But since Waxhaw has developed so much and there's so much commuter traffic, the pattern has changed dramatically from the way it was originally designed.
So, or a traffic light.
So,
A traffic light either at the current configuration or with the reconfiguration.
and who's giving you these? They give you that option?
Yeah, the
Option two?
consultants are thinking about both options.
But they wanna know what we're,
So
I'm
I'm
leaning towards. They're not. It's still pretty early.
I apologize for the. I'm thinking if most traffic is going this way, we take a straight line and that's a continuation road, but they obviously can go this way. Because I would see us moving this road down. Are they talking about that?
Moving the road down.
This road being moved from this turn to this
Yeah,
more.
you mean like where the
They
yellow
are
is?
talking about.
Yeah, that's what I've drawn here. They have
Okay, and this comes right in here, and these guys coming from this direction are gonna have to know, obviously they're coming into a T, they have to do a
Right,
stop.
right.
And we have a stop, so you have two stops, they make a right to continue.
Right.
Or
But
left.
they still,
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
making, here's what's crazy, they're making a right here, but they're looking at this to see if this car is gonna go this way.
No, that's gonna be gone.
That
Right,
part
right.
of it will disappear, Joe.
Let me.
No, these people can still go here, no?
That goes away.
That goes away.
I think,
Yeah.
quite honestly,
You're teeing up the intersection.
Oh,
quite
man.
honestly,
Yeah,
I think you're creating a problem.
Me
Oh,
too.
yeah.
I think you do a
So when
roundabout.
they put reconfiguration options, honestly, I think you're creating a problem.
I do too.
A roundabout, yep, it's not gonna work. Doing it like that, people coming from Bonds Grove, all of that is just a bad solution. And I've traveled both of them often, have not had an issue with either one of them.
I have.
I won't turn left onto Waxhaw Marvin Road from Waxhaw Marvin Road. I won't do it. I go the other way purposely.
What's it said again?
I won't make the left onto Waxhaw Marvin Road from Waxhaw Marvin Road at that stop sign because
Coming from Waxhaw?
Yep. I won't
It
do
is dangerous.
I pulled up on somebody
I
and
get
didn't
that
see
part,
him.
I get that part of it.
Someone like coming
But
speeding
the
up on the
options
road?
that have
And I
been
just
presented
didn't
right
see him.
now,
And I looked, I stopped and looked, and I almost got
you're creating more of an issue.
killed.
But so then the person coming from Marvin and going down Waxhaw Road, but wants to go on Bond Grove, is gonna be,
gonna make a left turn at a stop sign.
gotta
It's
make a
intersection.
left turn, well, but there's gotta be a queue for that, so they gotta widen that road. I would imagine there'd be a certain queue, like, how many stacking?
So just put in a roundabout. It'll slow everything down, because
I
that
agree.
road's way too fast anyway.
You push everything out, it will pull that whole thing down this
And
way.
just make a
You get a
roundabout.
better line of sight, so they know a roundabout's coming up.
Yep.
And roundabouts, I'm telling you, they people
Well,
are
I
figuring
would tell you, I
They're
wouldn't put a,
expensive.
I would-
Okay.
they're expensive.
Would a-
but
would
I
all
wouldn't
one
put
stop be a
I would
temporary
not put a
measure?
stop sign.
Stop
I would-
sign or
I agree with you
stop light.
100%.
Neither one, no way.
This way, you get rid of everything. The safety becomes a fender bender because I've come up on nasty accidents right there.
Oh, I was
And-
killed.
It's
And
terrible
It's
right
it's
there.
horrible. And yes, it's more expensive, but at the end of the day, it keeps traffic flowing. It's safer, and you go from being hit, sideswiped, and really high speeds to they know you're going to be hit at like 25 miles an hour.
So is all three corners in Marvin?
No,
No, the
No,
one that's
this-
south is.
no, this is not in Marvin.
Okay.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm looking at a map right on the wall, right there.
Okay.
So the yellow is Marvin.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
right
that
there.
corner
yeah.
where it all comes together, isn't it?
So, right, so,
All right, so we
So-
wouldn't be on the hook for all of that.
no, we would maybe be on the hook for about a quarter of it.
Okay.
I'll put DOM, it's easier to write DOM and then not.
So that resident right there is Marvin.
Yeah, and this is VOM and that's not,
So we're taking away a little of their land,
no,
right?
Not much.
not much.
No.
And I'm sure this guy's fence, he's reconstructed it so many times that literally the fence is on the ground there because he's given up on putting the fence back because of how many people fly through this intersection this way because they don't realize there's this curve. So they go like this.
Oh my.
Yeah, so that's what we found on our site visit with the consultant that you stood right here and you see there is a clear like almost like a driveway of people that have done what I've drawn here.
I'd love to have a camera there.
I
Yeah.
mean, I think a stoplight and a stop sign reconfiguration is just, you're just asking for more trouble. I think, I'm not an engineer, but it looks like a roundabout would probably work the best. And slow everything down, because I do know people come hauling around right somewhere.
That's the key. That's the key right there. You're slowing people down on that where you don't have great sight line, and that would improve the line of sight
Yep.
by moving everything down and then just plopping in a.
So I say roundabout there.
I think it would improve the flow quite a bit since there's a lot less traffic coming off of Bonds Grove Church.
Yep.
It'll improve that
You have to
flow
worry
from
about
Waxhaw to
it.
Marvin.
Just looking to your left.
Yeah, it'll be a whole lot better.
So Renee, you need their option and
Yeah.
commitment.
You'd never see,
Not
I have
for
never
this
seen
one. The
someone
commitment is
turn
coming later, but for the Joe
left
car.
on Bonds Grove to Marvin Wax.
I have.
Oh, I have, yeah.
Yeah, it's the thing is that by and large, most of the traffic on Barnes Grove Church Road are residents that live on that road. The bigger subdivisions that are out towards Providence generally go to Providence to
And
get
go
out
down that
rather
way,
than come
yeah.
all the way back down. But the ones at this end are the ones that use it, and there's not really that many.
That's what I thought. I don't trust
There's one subdivision on this end, and the rest of are private property, pretty much. The rest of the goes the other way.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we say roundabout.
Yeah, right, so for this agenda item, I'm really looking just for a consensus, because the consultant really they do want to take the council's opinion into consideration when picking an option.
All right, we say roundabout.
I mean, yeah, that's the
Roundabout?
optimal
Is that what
option.
I'm hearing from everyone for this?
Bob, roundabout?
There's a reason why they're very popular in Europe.
No, I'm really in favor of a roundabout. When I've gone to Monroe, I'm sorry, I'm forgetting the route, but when you go to Monroe, when you're cutting through,
84,
not Weddington, anyway, I'm trying to remember
Wesley
this.
Chapel
I'm trying to
going down 84.
Yeah, and you're heading towards, what I'm saying is you're heading towards, airport. Yeah, there it is. There it
That
is.
roundabout all the time.
Yeah, there it is.
That airport road, I'm used to that often, and it flows. And that's a rapidly busy intersection. So I kind of see that, without a doubt, it could work with a roundabout there.
And I think if we try that stop sign routine, and this is what you tell them, is that you're not slowing down traffic. Because those that are still going down from Waxhaw Marvin Road, coming from Marvin to Waxhaw, they're gonna fly even more because now they have a better line of sight to go straight.
Yeah.
And they're gonna be flying on that. That's a country road, so roundabout it is for me.
That's great. Thank you.
Okay.
So the other intersection in this agenda item is the Joe Carr and Marvin Road intersection,
Right.
which is over here, and
Yeah.
we got some kind of differing opinions at different agencies level. The NCDOT, as I said in the memo, would prefer to add a left turn lane from Marvin Road southbound. Let me annotate.
Where are they picking up? They're picking up.
Anybody coming out from Joe Carr hanging a left is never, ever, ever going to get out.
Nope.
Ever.
Right.
Right.
Not a chance.
Yeah,
Because
that would-
the only way you get a break is if somebody's nice enough to let you.
Yeah.
that would have to be electric controlled or a roundabout, but it would be very intrusive to have a roundabout.
And they're gonna be waving you on, go ahead, go, while someone's flying up the right side.
Yeah.
And you go thinking you're safe and you
Yeah.
get clipped by the guy you're
Yeah.
thinking it. That's horrible.
No. That- Roundabout.
Yeah. So
It'll slow it down on Marvin Road too.
right. So the county,
It'll be
the county.
2030 before we get.
We're gonna eliminate all these cut throughs.
The county planners are also thinking roundabout, and that would kind of be like a slight realignment here,
Yeah.
and then
Don't cut into that fairway there.
That's crazy. Joe, are you familiar with that fairway?
That is
My
very
ball's usually on Marvin Road when I hit
Very
it.
expensive real
It
estate
just,
now.
yeah, that gets even coming in from Charlotte, that when people are trying to turn left there, it gets kind of hairy because you come around that bridge and then there's a line of cars that are waiting and it's like, oh
Yep.
crap.
And again, you are exactly right. There's so many people coming from Joe Carr to get on the Marvin.
Yeah.
And if they do let you through, you're now dealing with
Yeah.
from the left, and you're wondering, is there if there's stacking, you can't tell if a small car is
Oh,
coming.
and that's gonna have to
right
be a
at the
long
right side.
stack too. I mean, that would have to be.
Yeah, it has to be a long stack because you'd have so many cars making a left there going home.
Roundabout.
okay, so
Roundabout
for that one too.
And explain to them that a lot of us live right there and we deal with that daily, that we live in, so first-hand knowledge, working knowledge.
I
Put a
mean,
roundabout
they
in
want
everywhere.
25 to 50. I say we commit 50 because we know it's not coming anytime soon, and you know that they're going to ask us for more. So we might as well just
Sure.
give them the full amount that they want.
And the
Not
county,
that we're giving it to them right
right.
now,
The
but
county was willing to match. We had this conversation, like a three-way conversation between me, the county, and the DOT. And the county is willing to match whatever you were willing to match.
I'd say 50.
So-
You're gonna put an officer there?
Well, when we're done with this roundabout,
Yeah,
we'll
this
be
is kind of,
down
this is
there.
no pledging.
There's formal action. We're not gonna lie.
Yeah, this is not an action, this is like a consensus. The match
Right.
would come years from
Yes,
now.
because it's not happening anytime
Right,
soon.
we're
They
anticipating
can't even
maybe
fund
24.
That homeowner just on the north side will be happy.
30.
Yeah, that'll keep them from going through the horse and
Return his dates.
30
Yeah.
will be 70. Wow.
It's a 50% of the cost.
No, 50.
50K. I was about to say.
That was
I'll
funny.
show you.
That was
I'll
funny.
chase you down.
Just for this one, they didn't ask for,
Is that on me?
yeah, that's all I needed for
Christina's
this.
like, chop, chop, I'm trying to get out of here.
That's all I needed for this agenda.
Okay.
Thank you.
Moving on. Number 8, discussion consideration of communication topics for January 2021.
All right, can we stop sending out the tax bill notice?
Yes.
Yeah, let's stop doing that. And then for your notary services, can we stop saying resumed?
Store, I need to edit that, I apologize.
Yeah. And then we need to do one about the new governor's stay-at-home orders, that there's a curfew in place starting on Friday, and alcohol sales will stop at 9 p.m.
9?
Do we sell alcohol in
Alcohol sales
Marvin?
will stop at 9 p.m., and you better have your butts home by 10 p.m. And this goes through January 4th.
Come to my house.
Happy New Year!
Yes, just in time to squelch the New Year's celebration.
Yep. So we need to send something out.
Okay, I got it on the list.
Christmas isn't to be celebrated anyway.
Yeah,
True.
that's true.
Yeah, I know.
Boy, I love this.
Next
The way this country's built.
You know what, I can go out my back and walk in.
All right.
And this is primarily January, these are January topics.
Yeah, but I do think we need.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and send something out for that next
Go out the
week.
back.
Any other comments on
You'll be
this?
all right.
Bob, you have any communication topics?
No, sir.
Nope, that's all I got.
I'm in the mood. Just saying.
Okay, for Christmas, me too.
Yeah, even though I haven't decorated this.
Oh, I'm fully decorated.
I haven't done my shopping.
Presents are in the
I've
tree.
even got my house decorated, Joe. You're way behind.
I don't have a tree yet,
So far,
not yet.
You can see mine from
I didn't do
space right
Halloween,
now.
so I don't think there's a
Me
need
too,
for
that's my
Christmas.
house.
I put more effort in decorating here than at home.
You did a nice job, by the way. It's the
Okay.
first time we've had
That's
Christmas.
Christina.
Moving on, review and consider adoption of council minutes from 11:10 regular and 11:23 special meetings.
I do not have any changes for either set of
I didn't
minutes.
see them either. I have no changes.
That's easy work, isn't it?
And if you did not review them before the meeting, then you get no vote. Joe.
I don't know if you can do that through rules. I don't think you can do
I'm
that
not
through
making
rules
any
of procedure,
comments.
but okay.
I'm not making any comments.
You're good.
Bob, you got any changes?
I don't.
Alright. Andy?
Nope.
Joe?
No, ma'am.
Alright, I'd like to make a motion to adopt council minutes from 11:10:20 regular meeting and 11:23:20 special meeting as presented.
Further discussion. All's in favor? Motion passes. All right, next up we have open topics. Does anybody have anything they would like to discuss
No.
openly? So I got two things. There was a little clarification on Saturday's tree lighting, so I'm glad I stayed in town for that, because it's gonna be a big event with just Derek and I. Is that what, nobody else is coming?
Correct.
And I'm just showing up? I just wanna get,
That's correct.
he said to come by around 5:30 and we'll, so
Plug in
there's
the
gonna be
lights.
any Zoom or anything, or
We
we're?
don't have internet connection there.
That's, yeah, so.
Have Derek take a couple pictures of you.
Okay.
We put it on the website.
Plugging it in.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
Clark Griswold.
No, let's not do that.
Lights go out in the barn.
Yeah.
We can
Yeah.
arrange that if you like.
And the only thing I will say is I will open this up to one more councilman.
I wanna go.
If you want to ride in the 57,
I wanna go.
I'm picking up Santa at 3:30, I think, to 5. We're hitting a bunch of neighborhoods.
Oh, yeah.
You gotta get that wave down and stuff. I'm hoping the car runs.
You
So
should play
I gotta
Friday at
hook
30.
the battery up, make sure everything's good to go. It's been charged and stuff. I have a backup just in case it's a not as nice a day, and then a third
It would be
backup.
beautiful.
Santa may be in a
Saturday,
Jeep.
this Saturday?
Friday.
This Friday.
Oh, yeah, 65 and sunny.
Yeah, I know.
It's gonna
Perfect.
be beautiful.
Yeah.
But you know, the weather changes.
You're lighting the tree this Friday?
Saturday.
No, Saturday. And
Okay.
then Friday is, we changed, I think
Yeah.
Santa got confused of what day we were going around. So it's interesting, but school's really out by then.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen the route yet.
Everybody's virtual anyway on Fridays.
Yeah.
That's right.
But I'm saying kids are done with school, but from
Yeah.
being that, so looking forward to that. Trucking Santa around. But I've got
No,
nothing else.
otherwise I could, otherwise,
All right, no one wants to join me. I'm
I
gonna
do.
go with my family.
I would love to, Joe, but
where are we gonna find the route?
I want to bring kind of Santa's
Didn't-
brother if I could.
didn't
I'd bring him by.
Derek has already come up with the route.
He has a, yeah, I think there's the fire department's gonna be there.
Yeah,
and police
Wesley
escort.
Chapel Fire
But
Department.
what's the route?
It just through a couple of neighborhoods.
I
It's
can
gonna
tell
take
you.
about-
Neighborhoods.
It goes up, it goes down Newtown onto Marvin Road into Innisbrook, up to Firethorn, in Firethorn, come back out, down Joe Kerr Road,
To Marvin.
into Marvin Creek.
Which side? The estates or
Are they,
both?
are we doing Innsbruck early?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so on the
it's
first
going
one.
to be first.
And then you go into, you turn right into Marvin Creek, you come back out onto Joe Kerr Road, down Marvin School Road by the school, and back to Village Hall. And we're
So you might
gonna,
go on the other side of town?
Okay.
it would be too long of a route, but we're gonna invite the public to pull up in their cars at the school apparently. That's what I was told.
Yeah. So we're gonna be, maybe
I think, I'm not sure if Derek has talked with the school yet, but that needs to
No,
happen.
I mean, we had to get the route approved by a bunch of different people, so it was.
Okay, so 3:30 will be coming in the hood? Okay, text me when you're on your way.
All right. Well, I'm
Not
supposed
while
to.
you're driving.
I have
Send a
it
text
for
me.
3, but it's actually from 3:30 is when we're taking it.
3:30
So it's like an hour and a half.
Right.
I'm driving, so
Tell Santa to
Or
text
rev
me
that up.
when you're on your way.
yeah.
At this point,
You
you're not coming
nervous?
together.
Tell them what.
Tell Santa to text me when you guys are on your way.
Okay, so I don't text and drive.
Yeah.
Okay. No other open topics?
Nope.
Okay.
No?
Agenda review items, an ongoing action item list.
Okay.
I can start with this meeting.
laughing.
You can go ahead if you want. I got
Roundabout
some
line.
too. You, Christina, most of them are you, so.
Okay.
2 years later.
Let's do the survey for the roundabout here now.
Now, right now, we are.
I wanna,
We are.
I wanna do
We are.
a over under on whether the lights get done at this one or that one first.
That's a good bet. That's a good bet.
So
It's
staff.
not your fault, Roadhead, don't worry.
I'm really trying, sorry.
Staff will amend the road acceptance / road maintenance policy to include some information about paint and non-functionality issues and how we would address that moving forward. I'll get some clarity from AMT on these road estimates that they have because the numbers are kind of weird on the Newtown Road repairs. We'll get with Union Power to address the berm issues. Derek and I and Chaplain will get together to discuss the sponsor package for the park projects. Rohit will send the HOA contact information out to all council members so that they can contact these voluntary annexation groups to.
And as we see him, call Rohit. I'd recommend just as council members, call Rohit and say, I got this community, and then mark them off.
Some organization.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't.
That's the best way to do that.
Thank you,
Okay.
that's a great idea.
Mayor Polino will contact our state representatives to talk about repaving Newtown Road.
That's actually already on, oh no, that's the third roundabout. So you got 2 topics for the state
I got
officials.
issues.
We will have retreat discussion at the work session. If y'all want to talk about anything further on that, we'll also talk about ideas. Staff will
Wait,
begin.
what?
So y'all had talked just briefly about the retreat, maybe having it somewhere else. We'll bring that up for ideas at the work session.
I thought we were having that, okay.
Newtown Road petition we'll bring up again at the work session.
Can we add that one to the list?
What to the list?
The Newtown Road, what did you just say?
Newtown Road petition.
Petition. The ongoing list.
Staff will also begin a sign auction for these signs that we're gonna be disposing of.
Yes.
Let's see. The roundabout lighting update. Hopefully we'll have an engineer report back
Hopefully we'll have it by the end of the week.
December.
Can we combine the 2 items on the ongoing list?
Yes.
Wait, which ones?
The roundabout lighting, there's 2.
Okay.
Rohit will also bring forward the streetlight policy, motor vehicle penalty ordinance, and a median ordinance at the next meeting, work session. Pocket park ideas will be discussed. What, at the January work session?
Yeah, maybe the January meeting.
Okay. And let's see, we will move forward with the encroachment agreement and the ordering of the sign for the no left turns. We will amend your council meeting schedule to include the budget calendar approval for the night meeting on the 28th, I believe it was.
So here, 27th
27th.
of May, right?
That'll be at the next meeting, just for, we'll put it on the consent agenda. We'll bring forward a new fee schedule to incorporate the professional pass increase and the no non-Marvin annual pass fees.
Yeah, but you won't know what the professional pass.
They'll talk about it,
Yeah.
KRG will.
That's all I have. I don't know if I forgot anything, but
Let's see if there's anything else. Just things like you'll execute the contracts with Dewberry.
oh yeah, we'll go with that.
And I'll post communications and copy of council invites, things like that.
Okay, Rohit, what's the street lights? Follow up with NCDOT and Union Power on street lights. Was that, what was that?
We have a policy that we need to update because it's from like
Okay.
2002.
So the policy.
Yeah.
Okay. Where are we with Amber Meadows, the civil penalty for using motorized vehicles?
We put that on them, didn't we?
Yeah.
Okay, so then let's complete that. What's on there? Signs. Are we good with that one? Discuss assessing village signs with engineer.
No, that's to repair some of the crooked signs.
Oh, okay.
That's those sunken footers, right?
And we haven't done that yet.
So let's just tidy that up,
Okay.
whatever, because I didn't know that meant. I think we inquired with DOT about their reluctance to relinquish the
Yes.
control, so you can complete that. And then if you can just combine the two roundabout lightings.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you can add the update on the Newtown Road petition. And then add third roundabout and Newtown Road petition for Mayor, or I guess you just put Mayor Polino.
Yeah, they're on my list. I'll be updated with the new ones from tonight.
Okay. You're welcome.
Thank you. Just give me
Well,
more
I was
work.
just, you know,
I know.
volunteering you for stuff.
You already did. All right. Council comments. Bob, you got anything, Santa? Seems like it's getting bigger. I don't know if it's...
It's the bell tolls, we're getting done at 9 o'clock.
Are you brushing your beard? Just curious, because it seems like it's getting full. Are you brushing your beard? It looks like it's fuller.
Yeah, well, it's, you know, I'm turning into a civilized version of the Revenant, so, you know, what can I say? Being here. No, I was gonna just say, first off, once again, we always do, but especially with this agenda, thank you for the staff, for following up and working on all of these things with, especially yourself, Christina. I mean, there's a lot of things on here that you're trying to balance and follow up on. So thank you for doing that. And to especially the staff and the council, a Merry Christmas to you. If I don't see you, if we're not crossing paths somehow, Merry Christmas to you. I'll be able to bring you some Christmas cookies, Kim, on Monday. Let's see what else. And to the villagers of Marvin, you know, to wish them, you know, a happy holiday. And wish them all well. So.
Bob, am I the only one that gets Christmas cookies?
Yeah, because I'm going to see you on Monday.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay, cool, sweet.
I'm just going to stop by to sign a document just so I can get some cookies. Y'all good?
Somebody get
I'm
Joe
good.
here to
All
sign
right,
something.
thank you, Bob, and Merry Christmas to you too.
Thank you.
Go around the horn, Jamie.
The same. Have a Merry Christmas to all the constituents, all the people of Marvin. Merry Christmas to staff, and Merry Christmas to all the council members, and have a very safe holiday. I heard that, you know, Tommy come in and talk about, you know, our incidents are down. I'd love to have something less than that the next time.
Yep.
For our deputies in Marvin, Merry Christmas to them, but also be safe. There's still a lot of stuff going on, and I just hope that I just wish them safety all the time. And staff, thanks you for, this is a very aggressive agenda, and when we look at the timelines and stuff, you guys keep us going, and you keep us honest, you keep us ahead of the game, and you keep our foot on the gas. So thank you for all your hard work in doing that, and Merry Christmas to y'all. So that's it.
Thank you, Jim.
Basically, I echo my predecessors as we go around the table that I do appreciate staff and all their hard work, and I just want to wish everybody a happy holiday, Merry Christmas, be safe, enjoy your time off during the holidays and family, and thank you to all the law enforcement, all the hard work that they do, and their tough job that they have to do every day, and I would encourage all of our residents to stop and say thank you to the deputies when you see them for all their hard work, keeping us safe, and keeping the crime at a minimum, and that's all I have.
Because we got two now.
That's right. Two to thank.
Two to thank, yeah. My turn?
Ms. Kim?
I know, I never say anything, but Merry Christmas to everybody. Happy holidays, Happy New Year. Let's usher this terrible year of 2020 out and bring in a great 2021, although the work that we have done this year has been very impressive, very aggressive, but we've gotten a lot of things accomplished. I'm really proud of everybody, staff, council, all of our boards. Everybody's been working hard, and I really hope that our neighbors and residents see what we've been doing and see all the hard work that everyone has put in. And so thank everyone, council, staff, all of our boards. Thank you all for all of your hard work this year. And I'm looking forward to next year and seeing what we can continue to accomplish. So thank you all, and Merry Christmas.
Very good. To tag on to that, I agree. It's the stuff that we've done this year based on the past 7, 8, 9 years I've been here. I think it's just, we're on all 8 cylinders, and that's a lot to do with staff, quite frankly, in my opinion. I think we all appreciate what you guys do, and we're trying to make it where we want you to stay because you're doing a great job. By the way, I don't know who put up the Christmas tree, but in all the years,
Christina in London.
I don't think we've had one here before. So it was like, we have never had a Christmas tree here. So it's pretty cool. It's very nice, and thank you for that little extra touch. Happy Hanukkah, and you know all the celebrations that are going on in the next couple of weeks, including New Year's. Please be safe out there. I know
We have to be at home, so no alcohol.
we're all going to be at home. Well, we'll be drinking alcohol, probably more, unfortunately. Did you see the binging is up 20%? Alcohol binging, and I just did a study. No surprise, yeah.
That's all.
They're just doing it longer. But you know, I'd really like to do a special shout out to all the teachers too, because what they're dealing with these kids and the coordination and stuff, and the risk that they're putting there. I look at them as frontliners too, and it's unfortunate for a lot of the kids because I think the kids are struggling too. A lot of them are with this new learning thing, but we'll get through this. And I'm excited about the vaccination that is getting approved, and anxious to. I'll probably be one of the first ones
to. At your age.
Exactly. Just wheel right in and get mine. But thank you for the current administration to push that through, because I don't think a lot of people realize how amazing, not only how fast they got to a vaccine, but the efficacy rate, because most vaccines are at 50% when you get a vaccine, and this one's at like 90-95%, which is absolutely phenomenal. So I'll thank the current administration for that, and kudos to them. But for everyone to have a blessed holiday, and enjoy the time with your family, even though you've probably been around them quite a bit. maybe you'll have a few more people come in, but hope for all the best in 2021. We're looking forward to it. So.
And to all of the
Yes. And with that, I'll need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All's in favor?
Aye.
9:07 p.m.
Great meeting, everybody. Woo!
9:05.
No closed session.
Who'da thunk? Mom gave me the eye.